Good morning. Broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, somewhere outside of the west coast of the United States, where intelligence reports have indicated that we may be facing a vulnerability and potential future attack from Iranian sleeper cells via drone. Yikes. My name is Brian Engelman. Today is Thursday, March 12th, 2026. And this right here, the thing that you are watching, it has a name. And it is called... that was the wrong button to press. The TNAM Daily Show. TNAM stands for the New American Media, because the old American media has failed you. Oh, you're doggone right. The old American media has failed you. That's why we began here. We began here roughly 15 years ago. And I'm telling you what, we have never intentionally tried to steer you wrong toward anything. We have opinions, we have preferences, but we do not have propaganda. And that's why you're here. And we're asking you to bring a friend. Share the show on X, share the show on Twitter, share it in Facebook, share it in WhatsApp, share it in Patreon, share it in Telegram and Signal chats. Share it wherever you can. Invite people to join us live. If you're watching us live, hit the thumbs up button on whatever platform you happen to be watching on. All right? Drop your comments. The modern drone was created by a Dr. One, I heard. Dr. One. Oh, Kenneth. Went to the hospital and saw a doctor the other day. All he did was take my blood. Do not go see Dr. Acula. That was a very Mitch Hedbergian type joke there, Kenneth. Well done. Dr. One drone. So yes, we're going to cover that story. We're going to cover the latest with the SAVE Act. We're going to cover all of the shenanigans. Today at 4 o'clock, we tried to do it yesterday, but we, scheduling 4 people is like herding cats. Did you just compare people to animals? Yeah. Yep, I did. Yes, I did. I compared people to cats, people to animals. But Strictly Football should be coming today, Thursday, at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, brought to you by the Unhappy Hour Sports Show here on the New American Media. That's Strictly Football here on the New American Media, brought to you by the Unhappy Hour Sports Show. We're going to talk about free agency and all of the wheelings and dealings that have gone on. Of course, you get ready for a football season, and the product on the field is the product on the field, but a lot of what you see happens because of player personnel decisions that are made in the off season. Lots of movement, lots of activity. So I'm a Browns fan. Ezrael Robinson is a Cowboy fan. Jim Mitchell and Mike Berra are Seattle Seahawks fans, and they just won the Super Bowl. Congrats to them. But I want to go win it this year. This year. Is it unlikely? We have a 1 in 32 chance. So you're telling me I've got a chance. Yes, we do. All right. Without further delay, let's launch into the TNAM Daily Show right now.
guide to the truth. thenewamericanmedia.com.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. Hit the thumbs up button, share the show with a friend, hit like, hit subscribe. Quick reminders that I will put on the screen. Scrolling at the bottom of the page, we are crowdfunded. So if you like what you have here, we're on Patreon at The New American Media. Just made a transfer into the business account, which is good because we're going to have to pay like $1,000 for corporate taxes. I swear every month it's some stupid $500, $700, $1,000 bill. I have very, very modest requirements out of life. I don't need yachts and fancy this or that. I don't have designer clothing. I don't need the latest shoes or the fanciest car. I just need to set a budget. I swear to you, every month it's something that comes in. But yes, we are crowdfunded, and all of your support is crucial. It is appreciated beyond what words can express. So thank you to everybody who has, and thank you to everybody who will. We're on Patreon at The New American Media. You can do two things: become a paid subscriber. We do 2 posts a month. They're $5 a post, so it's like $10 a month. Or you can subscribe to like $100 a month or $1,000 a month. We need a few of we got a few of those big boys swimming in the ocean. That'll make a massive difference. And as the show grows, of course, these things are going to happen. But yeah, at least sign up for the free version is what I'm getting at. Should the whole world go haywire again and you're not allowed to speak your mind, we'll be on Patreon until they kick us off. So make sure you're subscribed to at least the free version of Patreon. Yeah, if we got shut down on YouTube and Facebook and X again, like we had been before, and demonetized, channels deleted, spent years, decades building these things up, deleted overnight. No cause, no explanation, no opportunity to remedy any alleged issue, no customer service. So if that ever happens, 100% of the stuff that we have will go up onto Patreon. It'll go up as free and charge for post. It'll be like a double situation. But yeah, also Rumble. We are trying to grow our Rumble feed. I spent some time trying to get the Rumble wallet set up today. Damn it, if every time I try to do something, it's not, okay, well, now you got to do this. Now sign up for that. Now what's a pass key? Now do this. Now what about that password? Now what about this other device? Now I'm like, I don't know where anything is. Okay, so I still haven't done it. But I will set up the Rumble crypto wallet, allegedly, hopefully, soon. So stay tuned on that. I just want to my kingdom for the opportunity to just do what I do best and let a team handle the things. I swear there are teams of people where teams of people do those things and the people can focus on what they're good at. I just got to do it all. I got to play first base, shortstop, catcher, pitcher, outfield. It's a lot. Point of all that, once again, you're talking about how the sausage is made. That doesn't really concern me. Well, it just is what it is. I've been meaning to update my show intro for like a year or two. Put it on the list of things to do in between the other things. But Rumble wallet is coming soon. In the meantime, you can become a monthly subscriber on Rumble and YouTube. Thank you to everybody who has. And please, if you haven't done so yet, please consider it. Even just as little as $5 a month makes a massive difference to know at least, hey, one Lego block is coming every first of the month, third of the month, whenever it processes. You go, oh, okay, at least I can build off of that. I can build a foundation. Rumble rants and super chat tips are fantastic. And the monthly things are fantastic as well. So that's all scrolling at the bottom of the screen. And if you want to shoot something directly, Venmo and Cash App is just my name, Brian Engelman, spelled out at the bottom, or PayPal is fuzzinstallment@yahoo.com. Additionally, if you want any merch to support the show, we did share yesterday that John had these mailed to him. They're $30 for a set of 4 wooden, Ohio-made, American-made wooden drink coasters, beverage coasters. He got 2 of the circle shapes, and we have Ohio shapes as well, and the pins for $25. So it's $30 for one set, $50 for a set of 2, and $25 for the pin. So $75 for all 3 things here. If you want a mug for the New American Media, they're $40. Just shoot me a Venmo. That's shipping and handling included. $40 there. just shoot a Venmo at Brian Engelman and tell me what you want. You know, we got all this fun merch. I don't want stacks of merch. I want to pay the bills. So if you like what we're doing here, consider supporting us in that manner, would you? All right, let's get to your chat. Say hello to everybody up there. Dr. One. There's that. All right. Hello, everybody. If you're creeping and lurking in chat without commenting, this is your opportunity. Say hello. Say something to us, would you? All right. Let's go to our Instagram feed. Let's see how many followers away we are from allegedly being able. All right. We need 18 followers on Instagram. I was listening to somebody just discuss how difficult it is to get organic growth on their platforms. Man, oh man, do I understand. Yeah, it is a constant frustration. You crank out constant content and it's like, well, how does anybody grow? Thousands of posts. And it's like the numbers don't seem to change much. I've been going and cultivating through the X accounts. Man, is that tedious. And once again, that's another thing that I've been meaning to do for years. I just haven't because it takes time. But it's like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So I'm cleaning up the account 100 people at a time and hoping to spur some new organic growth. Then we're going to start a, what's it called? TikTok. I don't want to, but I guess we have to. The new American media includes TikTok. So stay tuned. And let's dig into the news here. All right, this is an awful story. Colin Rugg reports an arrest warrant issued for a Kentucky cheerleader who was accused of secretly giving birth before putting the baby into a trash bag. Grand jury voted. Well, here.
UK student and stunt athlete Lakin Snelling has been indicted and charged in connection with her baby's death. She was arrested in August of 2025 after her newborn baby boy was found dead inside her closet at her home off campus in Lexington. A grand jury indicted Snelling on first-degree manslaughter, abuse of a corpse, tampering with evidence, and concealing the birth of an infant. In Lexington, the former UK student and stunt athlete Lakin Snelling has...
They say stunt athlete? Did they say stunt athlete? What is that?
Has been indicted and charged in connection with her baby's death. She was arrested in August of 2025 after her newborn baby boy was found dead inside her closet at her home off campus in Lexington. A grand jury indicted Snelling on first-degree manslaughter, abuse of a corpse, tampering with evidence, and concealing the birth of an infant. In Lexington, the former UK student and stunt athlete Lakin...
I don't know what a stunt athlete is. Yeah. I mean, the comments, but it's okay for Democrats to kill babies with late-term abortions. David says manslaughter, that's murder. Also, what's the difference between this and abortion? I mean, Jenny, if doctors do it, it's legal. The hospital would have done it and made $1 million organ harvesting that little angel, which is legal in several states. But hey, that's okay, right? Man, the comments are just, how is this different from abortion? Cool story. Now make abortion illegal. Man, so many other options for the baby. The report here says that the grand jury voted to indict Lakin Snelling, a former beauty queen. Yeah, she's a looker. For manslaughter in the first degree. The decision by the grand jury was made after hearing that the baby was born alive. Asphyxia by undetermined means, facing 10 to 20 years in prison. Man. Prayers for that little baby, you know. Man, you could have taken that baby anywhere instead of throwing it in a trash bag to suffocate and die. You know, any fire station, any place, you could just, I found this baby on the corner. I need to go. You don't even have to say anything. You just hand it to somebody. Here's the thing. You don't even need to take it to the police and fear getting in trouble. Go to any church. Say, please take care of this baby, and walk away. Go to anybody in a grocery store, at a gas station, and say, can you please help this child? Well, what's the, here, can you set it down and walk away? That would have been better than this. I don't know how you determine the baby was born alive. I mean, I guess they have their ways. Is she a demon? Should she face the death penalty? Ugh. Just an awful story.
First of all,
sorry to start off with that. It's in my stack. Let's see what Real Toria Brooke has put in the stack. Representative James Comer reveals that Jeffrey Epstein's accountant has now identified 5 clients who paid money directly to him.
From Mr. Khan's answering every question thus far. We've completed 2 full hours of depositions. I would say we are possibly at the halfway point. It could last more than 4 hours, but he confirmed there were 5 clients that paid money to Epstein, and that was Les Wexner, Lynn Dubin, Stephen Sinofsky, the Rothschilds, and Leon Black. We've already deposed Wexner, and we're going to be deposing Leon Black very soon. First of all, Mr. Khan's answering every question.
The Rothschilds, just the Rothschilds. It's not like an actual name. It's just the Rothschilds, like all of them. Okay. Here you go. FBI warns California police departments that Iran may retaliate against the United States by launching offensive drones toward the west coast of the United States, per ABC.
So we've taken...
Here's Interior Secretary Burgum talking about Venezuela, etc.
What was a sanctioned adversary
National Energy Dominance Council chair
2 months ago, and then turned that into, literally in 2 hours, set the stage to have now a strategic ally. And I would say I was optimistic when I went down there on Thursday following a trip by Chris Wright, who'd gone down there, my good friend and our great Secretary of Energy, had gone down there a couple weeks before, setting the stage. And of course, but with the leadership under acting President Delcy Rodriguez, they passed a hydrocarbon law in 3 weeks. I mean, you just had 2 senators here talking about how we can't pass stuff in years, decades. Down there, they passed it. When we were down there last week, the mining folks said, man, it would be fantastic if what we had for the mining industry, what you got done in January for the hydrocarbons side. And they said, well, give us your feedback. They were asking American companies for feedback on what should go into Venezuelan law to make it competitiveness. And they said, when you need the...
Make it competitiveness? For competitiveness or to make it competitive?
On Monday, and then they introduced it on Monday, and today's Wednesday. I think the bill's already passed. And so this is a country that wants to become competitive for capital from all of you, and I'd say the opportunities there are tremendous. And of course, when we've got the conflict going on in the Middle East, there is no Strait of Hormuz, there is no Suez Canal, there's nothing blocking energy or mineral flow coming out of Venezuela. The only possible thing that could do that is the U.S. Military. But in our hemisphere, to have that as part of a fortress Western Hemisphere energy security policy, fantastic, great, incredible execution by our military, and incredibly bold and decisive and courageous leadership by President Trump, who, by the way, the people in Venezuela, right now would see him as the liberator of their country. I mean, they were literally probably put statues up to President Trump in Caracas, because now they have a birth of a new opportunity that all of you can participate in. On Monday.
That's an interesting reframe there. But yeah, some of the largest mineral reserves in the world in Venezuela, including silver and gold. Silver used to make phones, missiles, cars, etc. Cars, etc. All right, housing crisis. Hedge funds Third Point and D.E. Shaw are pushing CoStar to exit their Homes.com business, which would disrupt the Trump administration's push for affordable housing. CoStar has poured billions into making home buying more accessible, stand with families and not Wall Street activists. Kind of reads like a commercial, but that's her take. Marty says, if you haven't already, tune in for the full, what is this, Voices Carry for Animals, where we discuss why the Farm Bill cannot be passed as is and needs to be stripped of current language and amendments to protect livestock and farmers. Okay, I guess there's some pushback.
It was like...
Moving on, let's listen to Dave Smith talking about how progressive Democrats wrecked the country.
It was like we had essentially 16 years of the progressive Democrats at the driver's seat.
Oh, yeah.
There was the 8 years of Barack Obama, the 4 years of Donald Trump, and the 4 years of Joe Biden. And in that time, they really fucking wrecked the country in a lot of very profound ways. We got the banker bailouts, the failed Obama recovery. We got the expansion of the global war on terrorism to everywhere. That was the Obama doctrine. A war is anywhere I want to in the world, I can bomb. Don't need authorization from Congress or nothing. And
that is the War Powers Act of 1973.
They gave us the worst economic recovery in American history. They gave us the worst political and racial and cultural divides in modern American history. They gave us insane wokeism, just poisoning children's minds, in many cases poisoning their bodies as well. They also left us with the sickest nation in the world. They gave us COVID lockdowns. They gave us Russiagate. You know, they framed the sitting president for treason. They locked down the country. They just ruined tens of millions of people's lives. They, you know, whatever. They ran a senile president. We could go through all of the things. Just unforgivable crimes. Like the Democratic establishment of the last 20 years should be launched to the fucking moon. They shouldn't be allowed to live on Earth anymore. It was like we had essentially 16 years.
Is this reset?
Of the progressive Democrats at the driver's seat. There was the 8 years of Barack Obama, the 4.
I don't think we could have survived another 4. Rooted Wings says California is a sanctuary state. Under Biden, Kamala, we let in and protected hundreds of thousands, no, millions, probably millions, they have to be in California, of illegal foreigners. I witnessed them getting off the buses, primarily military-aged Middle Eastern and Chinese men. That's in response to the FBI sending a warning to California police departments that Iran could launch drones at the West Coast, according to ABC News. Yes, Kenneth, that is Game of Drones. Not Game of Thrones, that's Game o' Drones. The alert specifically against unspecified targets in California. Yeah, and how great is that? So the information, as early as February 26, Iran allegedly inspired to conduct a surprise attack using unmanned aerial vehicles from an unidentified vessel off the coast of the United States homeland. Great time for the Democrats to shut down Homeland Security and the Coast Guard. Those fucking traitors. Those fucking assholes. It's almost like when things were popping off and Biden kept releasing all the energy from our strategic petroleum reserves. No, you keep those for time of war. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? They have no additional information on the timing, method, target, or perpetrators of this alleged attack. Video below released by Iran's Fars news agency, state-affiliated outlet. Probably mute the music. So this is showing drone after drone after drone. Is it AI footage? I don't know. It's showing drones and missiles. It's a hype video of sorts. Propaganda piece. Probably better. Okay, now it reset. So be aware. Oh, here's Gavin Newsom talking about it. Yeah. Great time to have the Coast Guard and Homeland Security shut down because Democrats are throwing a temper tantrum, a hissy fit, because they don't want people at the polls checking to make sure illegal aliens aren't voting. Can you believe that?
The broader concern as it relates to drone strikes, we've been aware of that information. We've been working collaboratively through the SOC, which we established right after the war began, the State Operations Center, working with the Office of Emergency Service, but also working locally to make sure we transmit any information that we have received, and we're aware of that, which has been reported, I think, by ABC 7. We're aware of that information, and we transfer that information in real
Where'd you transfer it to? To the Coast Guard or the DHS? Oh, your Democrats shut those down.
time to our local partners. Drone issues have been always top of mind, and we've assembled some work groups specifically around those concerns. But that's all I'll share at the moment. I have nothing more insightful beyond just what's been reported and how we're transmitting what we know to our local partners, which is critical concerns. As it relates to the broader concern, as it relates to drone strikes, we've been aware of.
Yeah, you've been aware, but you haven't been able to get your Democrats to open up those departments.
Yeah, I'm really.
Like Leon says, every state is a sanctuary state. If you have illegals in your state and you have not gotten them out, I call sanctuary. Yeah, I was having a debate with somebody earlier about, well, I have the clip. I'll tell you about the debate. But about how we need to be spending our resources going after the terrorists. Yeah, well, and we shouldn't be going after illegals. Yeah, we should, because they're stealing your democracy. Every vote cast by an illegal alien, they can't vote. Yeah, we just played you a story a couple days ago about a person who's been voting in 5 straight elections. Oh, it's happening. And there's all sorts of clever ways that they're doing it. By the way, for countervailing views on health and elections, you know the drill. Go to cdc.gov, who.int, and cisa.gov/rumor control for countervailing views. Go get them. They'll tell you 2020 was the most free and fair election in the history of elections. I disagree. Go get your countervailing views over there. This girl says, I'm really sorry, Professor.
Yeah, I'm really sorry, Professor. I'm so sorry I didn't turn in that activity. I know it was really important.
Too much music. It was really important. I know that it was really important that I learn about Punnett squares, and I'm sure it was very informational. I'd love to get that done, but unfortunately, we all just learned as a species that every single important person in the last 50 years is a cannibalistic pedophile. Did you hear what the F I just said? Did that register at all? All your celebrities, politicians, multimillionaires, and billionaires, they're effing and eating kids. They're eating kids. How the F is nobody upset? They're eating children. Not just weird Dan down the street. Presidents, not just of this country, of others. Kidnapping. Systematically selling children into slavery. Then cannibalizing them.
That can it? I don't know who that girl's.
Can't be said much better than that. Hope she runs for the next government. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. The Dow's at 50,000. He says, I just don't understand. Takes a college girl to put it this way. We're in a country of men and women. Oh, of testosterone-filled men. And we've had to rely on this girl to cut through it all. Sorry, Professor. I'm sorry, employer. I'm sorry, government. Sorry, town hall. Sorry, everybody. But they're eating children. Effing and eating children. It's even worse than that. I don't know who that is. I'll drop a follow. A palate cleanser. This one I just enjoyed this. I've seen a couple posts from this guy. They're always kind of great.
Like you've held a blade before?
You look like you've held a blade before.
No. The Night's Watch could use a man like you.
The Night's Watch could use a man like you.
Okay, so what's going on? What's up?
Cold winds rise in the north. A threat grows beyond the wall. Join the Night's Watch. and fight for the realms of men.
Fuck it. Let's go.
Are you down for real?
Yeah, you know, I'm down. I'm down. Where do you want to go?
What's your name, stranger?
Angus.
Sir Angus the Brave.
Yeah.
Lesser men will sing songs of your bravery.
Lesser men will sing songs of your bravery.
To the tavern!
To the tavern! And then go have some pints. But for real, though, when the invading horde shows up, are you ready? Do you have some sort of game plan to help out? If we're all clawing and biting and scratching and throwing and shooting, it's going to be hard to take us all out. But if any one of us sits on the sidelines and waits for well, I'm trying to say lesser man, but what's a bigger man, a more capable person to handle business, then we're doomed. So the message there's actually a message there. Let's go. Get ready. Yeah, giving side quests to strangers. That's the account, side quests. 1.1 million followers. Side quests to strangers. Life is a video game, people. And it's okay. That doesn't disprove God. It's just this was created as a video game, a training simulation, so that we can experience all these things. It doesn't rule out Christianity or God or whatever. Looks like you've held a blade before. I love that account. Kangman Lee says Charlie Kirk was a mild-mannered... Well, hold on. Now I got to go back top to bottom. Daniel says the degree to which Charlie Kirk's assassination affected people and their decisions about life will never be fully comprehended or conveyed, but it seems to be surprisingly large. Charlie Kirk was a mild-mannered Christian, father, and patriot. Millions celebrated his death. They'd celebrate ours. That single realization is more radicalizing than anything I've ever experienced. Count us amongst the radicalized who now know the depths of the depths and motivations and intentions of the brainwashed, the stupid, and the envious. There's no going back. Presidential Reviews shared this one. Shocking. New Harvard study finds that Islamophobia may be caused by Muslims trying to murder people. Are you phobic? Shocking. New Harvard study finds that Islamophobia may be caused by Muslims trying to murder people. News at 11. Also, water is wet, the sky is blue. People don't go out of their way to hate anyone unless you're trying to push your shit on us. That's it. That's the extent of it. You can believe whatever fairy tale you want. You can believe in whatever god you want, any flying spaghetti monster in the sky. You can believe anything you want. But when you try to use your force to cram your crap down our throats, line in the sand, we got a problem. Oh, Instagram blurred that out. They don't want you to see that. So interesting. Actually, I'm going to comment that. Anyone else notice that when scrolling through Instagram stories, this is blurred out from view? Shocking. Okay, I'm not familiar with Waymo, but they're saying it's another day, another dangerous Waymo incident. This time, a driverless AI-powered robo-taxi slowly pulled out into oncoming traffic with horrified passengers inside.
Oh, we have to turn left? Oh, God. I know. What the f***? It's inching out. This is actually really scary. Oh my gosh, it's inching slowly. No, it's gonna go after this car.
It's not. It better not, because. Oh my god. Oh my god. Holy shit.
Oh my god! 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 Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Oh my god! Sorry.
Did you get that on video?
Oh my god!
Did you get that on video?
Yes.
Oh, roll your window down.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Jesus, the person's like praying for us.
Oh my god!
The person's like praying for us.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Oh my god.
Brandon says, I'm watching people trust their lives to an experiment. That can apply to a lot of things.
Oh my
Did you get that on video?
Yes, I did! Oh my god!
Oh, we have to turn left? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, we have to turn.
I think Waymo might have way more problems than Elon.
Where is
We told you about this guy. Where is this dude?
retired Air Force Major General William Neal McCasland. He's been missing since February 28th, and let's just say things are fishy. Here's the Post's senior reporter Chris Nisi.
Retired Air Force Major and UFO expert General William Neal McCasland has been missing for more than a week after vanishing without a trace from his Albuquerque, New Mexico home. And an investigative journalist is warning that due to his expertise, his disappearance constitutes a grave national security threat potentially. Local cops, as well as the FBI, have been asking the public's help in finding him as the search effort intensifies. But journalist Ross Colpart said on his Reality Check podcast this week that he has knowledge of some of the United States' most sensitive secrets, including deep knowledge about what the U.S. government might not be telling the public regarding extraterrestrials. The 68-year-old apparently left his house on foot on February 28th, leaving his phone behind, and hasn't been heard of or seen since. The Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office has issued a silver alert to help get his face out there in the hopes that it would lead to some tips. But so far, no major leads in the case have been reported so far. McCasland used to be head of research at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio, where he oversaw classified space weapons programs. That base is famous for hosting fragments of extraterrestrial debris that is allegedly came from UFO hotspot Roswell, New Mexico. Coulthart said it's no coincidence that McCasland's disappearance coincides with President Trump recently speaking about the government's knowledge about UFOs and the possibility of releasing previously classified information. And, you know, Coulthard noted that McCasland was supportive of giving the public more information about those classified topics.
Where is retired Air Force Major?
Massive red flag. Got to get more attention on
Where
this.
is
We can tell it's off. We can tell what's going on. Extraterrestrials, both Obama and Trump are talking about it. Is that going to be the grand deception? I don't know. Well, Joe Rogan talking about the meaning of life, perhaps.
I'm absolutely fascinated by the story of Jesus Christ. Because if you wanted to come up with a way that people would live that would absolutely be far more beneficial than just going on natural instincts and tribal behavior, and you would follow Jesus's teachings. Like I can't find a flaw in the way he tells you to live life. There's a lot of religions that involve, you know, torturing non-believers and raping infidels and being able to do terrible things to the people that don't believe your religion. There's none of that in Christianity. It's all forgiveness. It's all treating your brother and your neighbor as if they're you. Like it's a beautiful way to live life.
Are you Christian?
Well, I go to church, and I have been for quite a while.
Okay, so
I've been doing it for the last 3 or 4 years.
But that's not really an answer to the question.
Well, because I don't.
There you go. That is not an answer to the question.
No. I think it's very interesting, and I do believe that if you follow the teachings of Jesus Christ, you will live a better life. I really do believe that. Like I'm absolutely fascinated.
Of course you'll leave.
Like I'm absolutely,
whether you believe or not. In belief, in faith, not to, it's a leap of faith to just say, all right, I'll root for this team. Look, I root for the Cleveland Browns. I mean, do I know if we're ever going to win a Super Bowl? No. But you pick a team and you root for a team. Say, I'll be a fan of that team. Say, I'll be a fan of this religion and be a fan. Don't be a fanatic and try to harm people that don't want to support your team. That is fucking crazy. So don't do that. Marion says, no thanks to a driverless vehicle. I ran into a college buddy who sued. His lady got a driverless vehicle. I think a Hummer, he said. And it's like basically like taking your living room on a trip. He said, let's go test it out. Where do you want to go? He's like, go back to college. And we ended up having dinner at the same place at the same time. It was crazy. Yeah, that just happened. Anyway, TNAM preparedness here. 2 thugs try to jump a veteran and they quickly find out. Be prepared. You know what's so interesting about this? I'm going to play it. I'm going to type this. Let's see if you catch it. Listen to how they're not screaming as they're attacking 2-on-1, attacking this guy. One. Nobody said anything when they were hitting him. Unreal. Not a word as they beat up a senior. 2 kids, 2-on-1. But then they scream when he defends himself like something's wrong. Screw these girls. By the way, always carry and defend yourself. Don't be a statistic. Alex Jones making a dire prediction.
Got their orders yesterday to go. I'd imagine built into it's, a 3-day build-up clause. Let me see. So they got the order Monday. We could have terror attacks as early as tomorrow, Thursday, Friday. There might be a 7-day build in there, but they hit the doomsday switch. That means go. If it's real Iranians, they did give the order. I think the terror attacks start Wednesday. Latest Thursday. But this may, and of course, you have all the famous spoofing by the CIA, Vault 7, the rest of it documents that, Edward Snowden, where they can even go to Iranian computers, send the orders over. They've hacked into all the Iranian stuff. They could have the real go code and send it to the sleeper cells that are real, but give them the order to attack. See, there's so many scenarios here. And that's the worst case. Iranians, let me tell you, in its widespread, it's the Iranians. If we just see 10 terror attacks, and then they really aren't giving us a bunch of information, and then, oh, look, we got their passport, here's their confession, and then it's some weirdo that has mental illness or something, that's staged. That's a patsy. But if it's, you wake up one morning and the power's out in 6, 7 cities, and on the news there's smoke rising in every major city, and people getting shot, and cops being mowed down, and you hear pro-war governor's been killed at their governor's mansion, truck bomb, then the Iranians hit. But if you just see limited stuff or kind of something big and spectacular, that's what the neocons did in 9/11. Jets flying into buildings again or whatever, ridiculous, impossible stuff for regular folks to do. Then it's a deep state operation.
Well, today is a great day to prepare. Hashtag TNAM preparedness. That is factual. Lock and load, people. By the way, tell me in chat, would any of you be interested in a build your own bug out bag? I am this close to launching this. Build your own bug out bag business. I've had it in mind for a long time. It's going to be sort of, you'll have a chance. I'm probably going to do it on Whatnot to pick out your items live. Which backpack do you want? Which supplies do you want? Do you want potassium iodide tablets? Do you want flashlights? Do you want, just whatever you would put in a bug out bag. We're going to give you an option to just kind of pick and choose, and then we'll ship them out to you. Let me know in the comments if you think that's something you'd be interested in. I have, this has been a long time coming, so I'm very excited to finally launch it very soon. Fingers crossed, but every day is a good day to be prepared. Prepare is only a seed. And you know what? Seeds could be part of the preparedness stuff. Absolutely. Got to grow some of your own food.
They got their orders yesterday.
Nice. Little Mama Liberty says, what does a government do once it's disarmed its citizens? Answer, anything it wants. What does a government do once it's disarmed its citizens? Anything it wants. So you never allow that, which is why we were screaming so much at Obama and the deep state, what they were trying to ram through to basically turn us into Canada or Europe. The American people pushed back at the very last moment with everything we had, barely. Let's just say, someone says, I miss when you weren't so political. I miss when I didn't know. Bunch of you were actually mentally disabled. Yeah. So far, how's the war in Iran going?
God, you dull creature, and I will not be bullied by that.
Not be bullied by you. Oh, wait. Yeah, okay. Yeah, smash. So, that's just about done. Or is it? We don't know. It'd be great if it was. Because we do not want this dragging out. That would be bad for everybody, methinks. Hit like, hit subscribe, share the show with a friend. Drop your comments in. And if you're new to the program, let us know where you're watching from. We love hearing where you're watching from. All right, let's go to X, otherwise known as Twitter. Follow us at American_media_. And like we said about our Patreon link, it's pinned right here. Here's our interview with John B. Wells about God, Trump, Biden, Deep State, and World War III. It's right there, pinned at the top of the X account. Let's watch that until my eyes go wide. And I go, yeah, eyes go wide. Watch it. 3, 2, 1, go. And go. Eyes go wide. Raise the eyebrows. There they go. Okay. So it's only a few seconds behind. Let's go through a bunch of interesting things that we found on X. Go Gabriel says, I saw the news about them dismantling the FDIC and I immediately just started hyperventilating and sobbing. I've worked hard all my life to crawl back from homelessness and poverty, to pay off my student loans, to save and be responsible. They're going to steal our money. They're anticipating a bank run. Man, I sure hope not. What is the latest with FDIC? It was trending, and that was like the first thing I saw. I'm like, is that the gist of what they're talking about? Oh, Larry Elder says we started Old Glory Bank to fight debanking. I like Larry. I need to get Larry back on the show. We've interviewed him a few times over the years. Had barbecue with him in Cleveland. He hopped in an Uber that I was taking myself back from the convention in Cleveland. We've shared an Uber. We've chatted several times. Old Glory Bank. Well, I'm interested. I'll share it just because. Anyway, not entirely sure why FDIC is trending, but it was earlier, which is how I got to that point. All right, let's keep it moving. Monica Crowley shared this. Thune is in a vice as Trump and far-right demand fight on voter bill. The majority leader is getting pounded for not pushing hard enough, but he says the votes just aren't there to circumvent the filibuster. I don't know who wrote this, but Monica Crowley goes, I guess 85% of the country is now far-right? Cool. The New American Media said, as we repeatedly tell you, words matter. Far-right is not a thing. Far-right is just a slander against normal, common-sense people and obvious demands and ideas. Reject this phrasing everywhere. Also, hashtag pass the Save America Act. Scott Pressler confirms what's going on with the SAVE Act. Take a listen. We interviewed Scott at the Milwaukee Republican Convention of 24.
I want to clear up any confusion. The Save America Act would employ the SAVE system, which stands for the Systematic Alien Verification for Entitlements. Let me be clear. No registered voter that is currently registered to vote, Martha, will have to re-register to vote. What will happen under the SAVE system is any lawful legal voter will have their American Social Security number go through the SAVE system. And so long as they are lawful, so long as they are a legal American citizen, they will be able to stay on the voter rolls. And so when Senator Chuck Schumer says that tens of millions of Americans will be removed from the voter rolls, did he say the quiet part out loud? Did he allude to the fact that perhaps tens of millions of non-citizens are on the voter rolls? Anyone that is only for Americans being registered to vote cannot be against the Save America Act. And so we are going full steam ahead.
What is your...
You see what it did there? It clipped to something else. That's what they tried to bust Trump for, because someone did a Lion King video at the end of something he was sharing. So interesting. There you go. Did you know the Save America Act stood for what he said?
Alien Verification for Entitlement would employ the SAVE system, which stands for the Systematic Alien
Verification
for Entitlements.
For entitlements. Oh, I like that even better now. Amuse put this out and says TSA, 100,000 TSA and Secret Service agents haven't been paid in a month. 50,000 live paycheck to paycheck. Thune is sending the Senate home tomorrow instead of changing the cloture rules to pay them. Several families are going hungry while senators go home. Upside of changing the rules to pay the TSA would be the ability of the Senate to pass the Save America Act. Mike Lee says senators shouldn't go home until DHS is funded and the Save America Act is passed. Who's with me? This is insane. The Democrats are just absolutely out of control, and they always have been. They've got to be removed from power through voting. For those of you in Rio Linda, California, We're encouraging a diplomatic removal. Nothing violent. That's right, nothing violent. For those of you in Rio Linda, California, nothing violent is the way we're supposed to operate in politics. I need to listen to some Rush. I used to listen to him a lot. Now I can't listen to any new Rush. Not the band, the guy who was banned. Check out yesterday's show, Thune to call vote on Save America Act, while Murkowski and McConnell oppose it. That was yesterday's show, pinned here on the New American Media from our Rumble account. By the way, Rumble rant tips and super chats are out there if you would like to contribute to the show. All right, C3 says, remember that Congress voted to protect their sexual harassment records, but not America's elections. Says it all, doesn't it? Comments, Congress is the enemy of the people. These snakes coil up together in a viper pit. GOP is no different than the evil Dems. I mean, Elon says that actually happened. Congress protected their sexual harassment records, but not America's elections. And that says it all, does it not? Minnesota Senate Democrats. Take a listen to this.
The Secretary will take the roll on the A35 Lucero Amendment.
Minnesota Senate Democrats just voted to block an amendment that would have required proof of U.S. citizenship to receive taxpayer-funded rental assistance. Democrats want to give your tax dollars to criminal, illegal aliens who invaded your communities. Unreal. Flee blue cities, flee blue states. I can't tell you this enough. I know you want to stay and fight. I get it. But my God, when you recognize an uphill battle. Yeah, Kenneth, they're putting the con in Congress. Exactly. Ryan Burge says conservatives who attend church weekly. Hey, more church talk. Yeah, I tried a couple churches after Charlie Kirk's death, and I didn't find what I was looking for, so I stopped. I should try again. I should probably try again. Conservatives who attend church weekly are Conservatives who attend church weekly are the least likely to have ever been diagnosed with a mental health condition. That's good. See, our Republicans are on the right, or on the in the red there. Monthly, yearly, seldom, never. Liberals who have low attendance are the most likely to have a diagnosis. They have nothing grounding them. They have no guiding compass. Of course they're lost. 28%. That is tragic. Well, isn't that special? And what force on earth could be causing all that confusion here on earth? Oh, I don't know. Could it be Satan? I was listening to that podcast yesterday. Dana Carvey and David Spade, Dana and David, have a podcast, and they were talking to Dennis Miller. Some good impressions on there. I got to get back to that podcast. I don't want to forget it. But yeah, I mean, it helps keep you from going crazy. That's a good thing. Whether you literally believe the Bible or not, there's so many good messages in there. And it's nice to be a part of a community. You can connect with people in your neighborhood, your community, a support system. There's a lot of good stuff that comes from that. Whether you believe or not, like Joe Rogan, he's like, I don't know if I believe, but I'm going and I like it. And I think if we lived these ways, we'd be better off. And it's, put that somewhere in the middle. You're moderate. You're not a full believer. You don't go all the time, but like maybe more than never. I don't know. I mean, I can't preach that to you too much because I haven't found a church that I want to go back to. I just haven't. I tried, man. I tried. All right, Brianna Morello says, must see. Take a listen to this. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink.
So, do I believe the pendulum 5 years ago was too far? Yes.
You do.
I believe we're more I'm personally more pragmatic too. And I believe.
But do you think BlackRock pushed some companies a little bit further left than you thought?
It was never our intention, because our job is to be, I got to be a fiduciary to everybody who gives us money. Our responsibility, Brett, is
bullshit. You are a fucking liar, you Fink.
to making sure if one of our
You dirty rat. You rat Fink.
Our investors wants to invest 100% in hydrocarbons in Texas, I'm investing 100% of the money in Texas. But if another state fund wants us to invest in, let's say, all green energy, we're going to do that. It's their money. But today, because of AI
it's their money, but you're not going to protect them from themselves, even if they're ideologically bankrupting the people who have entrusted them to make fiduciary decisions. You're going to bankrupt yourself based on pie-in-the-sky hopes and wishes. That's not fiduciary responsibility at all.
overwhelming need for.
Well, if someone says, I want to take all my investments and invest in scratch-off lottery tickets. Scratch-off lottery tickets. That's not good advice to let them
Power and electricity. It can't just be one way right now. It can't just be hydrocarbons. If you see what China is doing right now, China is rapidly building more nuclear than any other country in the world. They have the largest solar fields in the world, yet they're the biggest importer of gas and oil. And so, to me, more importantly today, I think society has moved.
Yeah, you're right. It was never our intent, but they did.
Into a better position of having more pragmatism. And what you're hearing from me is I'm echoing what we're hearing from our clients.
Boy. Brianna Morello, who I spoke with briefly at the Milwaukee convention, says BlackRock CEO Larry Fink says the woke pendulum swung too far left. Fink was the one pushing companies into the woke agenda and openly admitted to forcing companies to change their behaviors. Do you think he's being authentic now? I don't. Tell me in the comments. Agree or disagree? Larry Fink is being authentic. I would disagree and say that Fink is inauthentic. Fair? Not entirely certain if this is accurate or not, but it's an interesting graph and it feels directionally true. Largest air forces in the world. Iran, 551 total military aircraft. UAE, 560. Algeria, 605. Moving on up. Israel, 612. Germany, 618. Brazil, 628. Greece, 632. UK, 664. UK that didn't want to help the US in this Iran situation. Italy, 800. Saudi Arabia, 914. North Korea, 951. France, 972. 972 in France. Turkey, 1069. Egypt, 1080. Egypt has that many? South Korea, almost 1200. Pakistan, 1434. Japan, 1459. India with 2,300 roughly. China with 3,300. Russia with 4,200. Who's this next one? What? 14,486. Whoa. Let's ask Grok. Are these numbers accurate? What's Grok say? What do you mean you don't know what I'm referencing? No, not the Save America. What's wrong with you? Hey. Asking, I guess I had to click on this to get some context. 14,000. Data discrepancies, inclusion of trainers, transports, and helicopters. Accurate numbers? Question mark. Grok is taking too long. Come on. Global Firepower's air power page. Okay, come on. I mean, that's like 4 times the second closest, if accurate. And Grok can't seem to give me an answer. Good grief, Grok. Are these numbers accurate? Man, it is not cooperating to give me an answer. While Grok thinks, hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe, share the show with a friend. Oh my gosh. Let me just switch over and share this tab instead while it thinks. Still thinking. Good grief. All right, General Mike Flynn shared this interaction with Matt Gaetz.
There's some reporting now of some communications that apparently have been intercepted about waking up some of these sleeper cells right here in America. So when we talk about this war is not going to be just isolated to the Persian Gulf or Iran or even some of the Middle Eastern countries that you just stated and you have on the screen here, like when we talk about Lebanon or Iraq or Jordan or Abu Dhabi or UAE, etc. I do think that we're going to see an expansion of it. They may not be as strong as they once were because, of course, their Navy's been destroyed. They're continuing, Israel and the United States is continuing to pound on their ballistic missile capability. But the Iranian military is a powerful, powerful military. And I'm not sure we've even touched on their conventional ground force capabilities. I mean, they have a large artillery capability. They have a very, very extensive military. And hopefully some of these people in the conventional Iranian military will turn on the government and join the protesters. But I want people to understand that these guys have had like 40 plus years to prepare for this kind of thing. And this is not a third world country at all. This is a very sophisticated country. They have clearly their problems ideologically, but
SITREP Iran, sleeper cells operating inside the U.S. U.S. intelligence tracking encrypted Iranian communications, and law enforcement been alerted to potential sleeper cell activity on our soil. Networks weren't built overnight, pre-positioned. They're patient, waiting for exactly this kind of moment. Every cop on a beat, every sheriff and their deputies, every federal agent needs to be heads up and fully supported. These are the men and women standing between a coordinated attack and the communities they protect. Congress needs to stop playing politics with DHS funding and give our people what it needs to do their jobs. The threat is real. The window to act is now. Grok says the numbers in the viral TikTok animation, but not precisely accurate based on latest available. They seem to be projections or earlier estimates from 24, which have since been updated in reliable sources. Give me the TLDR breakdown of what is inaccurate. Can it do that? Too long, didn't read. They're close, but outdated. 14,486 from the U.S. might be overstated by 1,400. Older figures. Russia actually went up a little bit, but pretty much. Okay, so it's fairly close. Now we know. Okay. I think I can go back here and keep it moving. Matt Tardio says the evidence is clear this isn't a Tomahawk missile. Iran alleged that an American Tomahawk cruise missile hit a school buried in an IRGC compound in southern Iran, killing 165. Analysis of the released video tells a different story. In my opinion, President Trump said, but based on what I've seen, that was done. They're showing the slowed down freeze frame. It's not coming straight down. It's at an angle for sure. The flight pattern of Tomahawks. They fly low horizontally to the ground, often 50 to 100 meters, to avoid detection. To get that attack angle, the missile would have had to gain altitude several kilometers away, leaving it vulnerable for interception. It's highly unlikely on the first day of U.S. attacks. Wing positioning alone makes the munition impossible to be a Tomahawk. The attack angle is the max of the Tomahawk's capabilities. Typical attack angle for Tomahawk is much lower than 70 degrees. So if you hear that story, people are analyzing it and saying that wasn't. It's not how it's being reported. Nick Sorter talking about the FBI warning police departments in California within recent days that Iran may launch attack drones at the West Coast targets. Iran intended to launch the drones from a vessel off the U.S. coast.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Be ready. Vigilant Fox says multiple senior Trump administration officials are quietly moving into fortified military housing around Washington, D.C., and the timing is raising serious questions. The shift comes as geopolitical tensions rise and speculation grows that the U.S. government may be preparing for scenarios far bigger than officials are publicly acknowledging. According to reports, Attorney General Pam Bondi recently relocated to a military base after federal law enforcement flagged a surge of threats tied to cartel activity and backlash over the handling of the Epstein case. She's not alone. Other high-ranking officials, including Stephen Miller, Marco Rubio, Kristi Noem, Pete Hegseth, and several top defense leaders, have also reportedly moved into secured military housing in or near the nation's capital. At the same time, a National Guard Rapid Response Force has been activated in Washington, D.C., with the ability to deploy within 24 hours to respond to civil disturbances. Meanwhile, renewed media coverage about automatic draft registration and potential troop deployments is fueling speculation about what may be coming next. Precaution or preparation? Check out the 9-minute report there. This is a great DMV ad, but there's too much music.
The parking lot. Welcome to your local.
You should watch that. Son of Liberty reminds us that Democrats hate America. This is the Schumer shutdown. That's how you should refer to it. Scott Jennings, good morning, America. As you awake, we have radical Islamic terrorists throwing improvised explosive devices in New York City and 5-hour security lines at some airports. And the Democrat Party has the Department of Homeland Security shut down. Ian Jager reports Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski comes out against the Save America Act. Is that true? Saying it will disenfranchise, that's not even written right, disenfranchise voters by requiring proof of citizenship. Is it true? Why wouldn't just tell me, is it true? I'm just asking, is it accurate? Murkowski's opposition. Just look at her. What is she? I don't know. I feel like sometimes you can look into people's souls by looking at them. There's something off about this lady. She has publicly stated her opposition, Safeguarding American Voter Eligibility Act. All right, so SAFE didn't stand for what Scott Pressler said, Safeguard American Voter Eligibility. Or is that what he said? Disenfranchised, rural Alaska, access to certain documents are limited. You get your documents. What are we talking about? All right, well, that seems to be accurate that she believes that. Murkowski wants non-citizens to vote. That's really the only whatever. It's going to place a burden on voters. Yeah, we should have to prove who we are, like when we get a visa or we get a passport or when we enter a foreign country or when we're filing paperwork. We have to prove this information. Lake Leon, she has no soul. Yeah, something compromised she is.
Try to block the Voting Act or do not. There is no try. Try to vote. Try to block. I can do a Yoda sometimes, but not when I'm thinking about what I'm saying. And it sounds a little bit like Kermit the Frog. Hey Kermit. Hey Piggy.
I wonder what they have on her. Yes. She looks scared and compromised. Dustin Grage says the last 4 days from Minnesota Democrats. They said shoplifting is good. They should quintuple the gas tax. Refuse to attend fraud hearings. Demand more money for departments that lost billions to fraud. Well, they stole. Ask for a promotion without a public hearing after failing at your job. It's beyond parody. Once again, flee blue cities, flee blue states. That could be a song. Daniel Kahn Cannon says another day, another spectacularly horrific black on white murder that no one hears about. That would be the #1 story in the world if it were white on anyone else. On February 13, black 21-year-old Alexander Lamar Banks driving around, admittedly looking for people to K, when he spotted a white mom and dad out for an evening walk, putting their 3-year-old daughter in a pink wagon in Delta Township, Michigan. It's a 77% white, 11% black neighborhood. That's when Banks targeted them, accelerating his car in their direction, driving off the road and smashing through the white family. Come on, are these white people or these are white? Is that their last name? Banks then exited the vehicle, retrieved a shotgun and fired multiple rounds, hitting all 3 family members and killing the 3-year-old Harlow Smith. He reloaded the weapon before approaching Harlow's dad and shooting him again at close range. Banks punched the white father in the face and beat him with the shotgun. He then grabbed the white mother by the hair, twisting her head and trying to break her neck when she attempted to intervene. A 72-year-old white... This is insane. A 72-year-old white woman named Barb Cook saw what was happening and ran toward the murder scene to try to help the family. With his gun empty, Banks smashed 72-year-old Barb repeatedly in the head with it. He hit her with such force that her hair and flesh were later recovered from the muzzle. After beating Barb, Banks dropped the gun and fled. 37-year-old dad Cameron Smith, 33-year-old mom Paige Smith, and 72-year-old Barb Cook all survived the encounter that claimed young Harlow's life. Barb Cook required brain surgery and facial reconstruction and went into a coma. As of the most recent update, she remains in that coma. Now we wait to see how easy the system goes on Alexander Lamar Banks when it's inevitably determined that he was not in the right state of mind and has the IQ of a speed bump. To recap, a black psychopath quite literally hunted a white family in public in the light of day, running them down with his vehicle before shooting them repeatedly and savagely beating them in someone's front yard, K-ing a 3-year-old, then bludgeoning an unrelated 72-year-old grandma into a coma, and virtually no one knows or will ever know that any of this happened. But everyone on Earth knows that a white girl said a magic word on a Minnesota playground last year. Oh my God. I've scrolled past this. I've seen this picture, but I don't know what it's attached to, what article we're linking it to. Elon says this happened last month, but you probably never saw any press about it. I've scrolled past it because I didn't know it was a real story. And you got to be careful about, when I present things, I try to double check. Is this a real story? Can we debunk this or whatever? My Lord. We are in such an upside down world. Whew. So you heard that, what is this? Reporter's notebook. Eating good in Afghanistan. But now it's waste of the day. Pentagon posts most expensive month since 2008. Lobster and steak among the Department of Defense end-of-year spending. You've heard this story, this outrage. Zito Selena. As for the TMZ-generated outrage, or as it will be inevitably called, Lobstergate, here comes some important context. In 2009, when Robert Gates was the Secretary of Defense during the Obama administration in Iraq and Afghanistan, here's a story from a reporter who was embedded with the soldiers. The lobsters and crab legs are shipped from the U.S. and driven down a refrigerated truck from Bagram. On a seafood night, the crew serves 400 pounds of the tasty tails, 130 pounds of Alaskan king crab legs, and 135 pounds each of shrimp and scallops. And here's a story from 2024 when Lloyd Austin was Secretary of Defense. I struggle to find any references in any stories, but perhaps I missed them in calling them Robert Gates' Defense Department and clout Lloyd Austin's Defense Department. I also struggle to find any photos with plastic lobsters behind the faces of Gates or Austin. They're trying to make a mountain out of a molehill. And of course you feed the troops well. It's for morale. And it's obvious you don't feed them goy slop or just slop. You don't feed them slop. Promethean Action gives you a 12-minute breakdown here. Trump moved on 3 fronts to break Lloyd's insurance blockade. This is about the Strait of Hormuz. But the bigger story is that the Khomeini family money trail is leading straight to London. And that's why Bolton and Carney and the old imperial order are all standing outside the fence and looking in. So now we're going to be ensuring that cargo ships can pass through the strait, since they're going to try to shut it down by shutting down the insurance on it. There's no easy way to tell people that they've idolized demons. Oof, that graphic is brutal. Man, oh man. Might not be too far off, though. Of course, CNN deleted 2 Pennsylvania teenagers crossed into New York City Saturday morning for what could have been a normal day enjoying the city during abnormally warm weather. That's about the 2 Muslims who threw an improvised explosive device at protesters who said, "We don't want America to be overthrown by Islam." They'll be reported as white supremacists, but Muslim is not a color of skin. It's a political ideology. They call it Sharia, but the whole thing can be called a political ideology in some camps. Conquest, overthrow, domination, warfare. Zero tolerance if you don't believe everything somebody walks up to you and says you must believe in. That's not the American way. And of course, that's not going to take over in America. But if you say such things, they will call you a white supremacist, despite the fact that there are white people who become Muslim for some reason. But as interesting as that phrase from CNN was, 2 Pennsylvania teens crossing into New York City for what could have been a normal day enjoying the city during abnormally warm weather. Scott Bertram says 19 men arrived at East Coast airports Tuesday morning for what could have been a normal day enjoying a cross-country flight. But in less than an hour, their lives would drastically change. Yeah. In less than an hour, their lives would drastically change. That makes it sound like something happened to them instead of they did something. Such a huge, important difference. Dan Gaynor just says, the number of people who won't understand that is too damn high. I'll repost that. You don't hate these journalists enough. These are the people that did it. Taylor Ramin and Gloria Pazmino. Thank you for including the names of the people that wrote that. Good grief. Yeah, Craig said, 5 young men boarded American Airlines Flight 11 in Boston, bound for Los Angeles, in what could have been a turbulence-free trip across the heartland of America, followed by a day on the beach. But in less than an hour, their lives would drastically change. All right. They say this is the lead reporter of that ridiculous CNN story. According to Eric Erickson, you will not be surprised to learn she uses they, them pronouns and graduated from Columbia's air quote journalism program. Of course. Columbia University, they, them. I don't see the other person's name, but I digress. Media can't hide the truth about the Gracie Mansion bomb attempt. Well, I'm not going to read you the article, but I will tell you they tried to frame it as an Mamdani anti-Islam attack. They will literally take 2 Muslim attackers and try to make it seem like they're just New Yorkers or kids from Pennsylvania, 2 teens from Pennsylvania attacked Mayor Mamdani in an like the implication is that it's anti-Islam or Islamophobic. No, they attacked the people who were protesting at near Mamdani's residence, saying, we're not going to let New York and this country be overthrown by Islam. That's who the 2 Muslim men attacked. But the media wants to make you think that 2 Pennsylvania teens had something, then things just happened. You know, and then some people did some things, said Ilhan Omar about 9/11. No, they were trying to kill people that weren't going to go along with the invasion and overthrow of America. Muslim terrorists attacked people rejecting Islam, overthrowing America. That's the story. The persistence, Scott Pressler here, says, at our rally in South Dakota next weekend, we'll have these signs available for attendees. If you know anyone in Rapid City or Sioux Falls, would you kindly let them know I'm coming to town? Senator Thune, I am not a paid influencer. All right, let's take a listen to the Save America Act, right from Carolyn Leavitt, the press secretary, telling you what it is and why it needs to happen.
President Trump is urging Congress to pass the Save America Act, one of the most critical pieces of legislation in our nation's history. The Save America Act is overwhelmingly popular with all Americans because each provision is rooted in common sense. The Save America Act has 5 simple requirements as requested by the President of the United States. Number 1, voters have to show ID to cast a ballot in an American election. Very simple. 90% of Americans, including more than 80% of Democrat voters, agree with this. Number 2, the Save America Act will require all voters to show proof of citizenship in order to register to vote in American elections. Again, this is popular and rooted in common sense. Only American citizens have the right to vote in American elections. But after Joe Biden and the Democrats allowed tens of millions of illegal aliens into our country, it's more important than ever to ensure that only American citizens are registering to vote on our nation's voter rolls, and Congress needs to pass this. Number 3, the Save America Act abolishes the incredibly unsecure practice of universal mail-in ballots, which throw the door wide open for fraud. Importantly, The Save America Act maintains exceptions for Americans to use mail-in ballots like for illness, disability, military, or travel reasons. The bipartisan 2005 report of the Commission on Federal Election Reform, chaired by, of all people, former President Jimmy Carter and former Secretary of State James Baker, concluded that, quote, absentee ballots remain the largest source of potential voter fraud, and it is time for Congress to finally address this. Number 4, the Save America Act permanently bans men from competing in women's sports. President Trump signed a landmark executive order upholding the promise of Title IX and ending this dangerous and unfair practice, but now it's time for Congress to codify this into law. Number 5, the Save America Act bans transgender mutilation surgery for children. Again, President Trump signed a common sense executive order to do this and kept his promise to the American people, but now Congress needs to do the same and codify it. It's well past time for Democrats in Congress to stop perpetuating the radical and false claim that you can somehow change a child's sex. You cannot. Passing the Save America Act is the most important thing that Republicans and frankly Democrats can do to strengthen election integrity and protect our democracy. It's what the American people elected Republicans to do, and they must deliver on it as soon as possible. The president is calling on Congress to get the job done and send this historic piece of legislation to his desk immediately for signature.
Yeah. It's overdue. It's now or never for this nation. All right. Deuce 5 says, for anyone that keeps a what the F file, here's a story for you. Olive Garden worker dies by deep fryer suicide in front of staff. I think took off his clothes and dunked his head into the air fryer. Oh, I'm sorry, into the hot oil fryer. Deep fryer. I'm not going to read you the gruesome details, but it appears to be a real story out of the Daily Mail. Oh my God. Fleeing for Florida. Do I have a video on this? I thought there was a video on this. Starbucks founder Howard Schultz announces he's leaving his longtime home of Seattle and moving to Florida as Washington state Democrats slam business owners with a brand new income tax. The billionaire coffee mogul is ditching the Pacific Northwest after 44 years to start a next adventure in the tax-friendly Sunshine State. Schultz joins a growing number of business leaders and wealthy residents abandoning blue states for new homes in red states like Florida. Shocking. Charlie Kirk once wrote, "The left needs people to need them. Their goal is to get as many people signed up for government benefits and keep them dependent forever, giving them just enough to survive, but never enough to break out of poverty. The Democrats are great at keeping poor people poor." Representative Andy Ogles from Tennessee says, reminder, you can't have a melting pot if people ain't melting. It's a good point. Assimilate or leave. Doug says, sometimes I feel like Trump is trying to save this country all by himself. Anybody else kind of get that feeling? What's this audio? I don't hear any audio. There's no audio with this? Okay. My audio's up? Yeah. Oh, there's audio. Okay. Well, some people are asking if J.D. Vance can become vice president. We shared a report yesterday. Readers added context that the vice president serves as the president of the Senate but cannot serve as Senate Majority Leader. Majority Leader is a party-elected position held by a sitting senator. The role did not exist during John Adams' time. So can he or can't he? And regardless, who should take over when we get rid of John Thune? John Thune cannot be the Senate. What the hell is he? Leader. Senate leader of the Senate. He only serves in Senate as presiding and for tie-breaking votes. The majority leader position, established in 1920, is elected internally by majority party senators and requires Senate membership. This post taps into MAGA discontent with so can he or can't he? No. That's an internal Senate election, not a VP power. So the post that I was reading said that there was some sort of technicality. It hasn't been done for a while, but that doesn't mean that it can't. No. VP is the president of the Senate, a role limited to presiding over sessions, casting tiebreaker vote. However, the majority leader is a separate party elected position. But why? The VP the VP upon taking office resigns their Senate seat, as Vance did after the 24 election, so they aren't eligible to hold or assume the leadership role. Historical reference like John Adams presiding as VP in the early republic, but the majority leader position didn't even exist back then. It was formalized much later. Some conservative figures, like Charlie Kirk, have floated the idea of the VP taking a more active leadership role by leveraging presiding powers or ignoring modern precedent. This has no modern precedent and could be overruled by the Senate majority, which sets its own rules. In practice, VPs rarely preside regularly anymore, leaving that to the president pro tempore. All right, so my initial investigation into this says you can't do it. I've double, triple checked it. Todd Starnes shows you this picture of Pam Bondi sitting. Well, the Muslim mayor of New York City feasts on a meal barefoot and sitting on rugs inside City Hall at nearly 25 years after Muslims waged jihad in the Big Apple and killed thousands of our fellow countrymen. Do you see this? Inflation under Biden. Overall inflation, 20%. Homes, 35%. Mortgage rates, 148. Man, gas prices, 46%. Food prices, 21%. Mila Joy says, we survived this, and now Democrats are complaining about 2.4% inflation. Child, be serious. Gunther Eagleman says, imagine how cheap healthcare would be if we weren't handing it out free to millions of illegal aliens. Sassafras. The left is outraged about steak and crab legs for our military. Yet, in the same instance, don't mind EBT people getting steak and crab legs on your dime. One fights for our freedom, the other mooches off of our system. They are not the same. This is selective outrage. I agree. Jim Davidson says some political views are deadlier than others. 262 million people murdered by their own governments since 1900. Gun control is always the first step. Help make democide safe for the governments of the world. Support local, state, national, and global gun control. Take away the guns, you will get abused. This is our moment of zen, if I can remember to get back to it. It's just the best. Ted Nugent posted, only the weakest of males want to physically compete with women. Only the weakest of intellect celebrate them. Jeffrey posted, Schumer says the rot at ICE is deep in only 1 year, so it must have been really unfit when Biden allowed half the world to enter. Or are they rotten because they're removing potential voters? There you go. Here's your friendly reminder that the left has been threatening President Trump for a long time, and it's about time they get held accountable. Is it not?
I said, no. I said, if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
I will go and take Trump out tonight.
Too many see the protests as the problem. Please, show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Go to the Hill today. Get up in the face of some Congress people.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome.
against running away from Donald Trump. I think you need to go back and punch him in the face.
When they go low, we kick.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
The left will not stop inciting violence. Don't forget that. That's who we're dealing with. Is Javier Milei saying this in English or not?
Si usted se gana su dinero honestamente, Luis.
No. It says, if you earn your money honestly, who the hell am I to tell you what you can spend it on? What gives me the right to be so arrogant and presumptuous as to tell you that you can spend it on this, but not on that? Good call. Well, things are ramping up. We keep hearing about the military draft. Every day is a good day to listen to Ron Paul.
We're talking about something that makes me nervous, and that is the draft. And I remember spending practically a year on this in Washington, trying to prevent registration to return in 1980 because it had been suspended, as the Vietnam War was ending. So why was I so excited and determined to participate in that debate? And it's occurring once again, because I think it's the issue of self-ownership. And most people know they know about they themselves are their boss, and they should be responsible for themselves. And it's a very important issue. But self-ownership also implies that the government doesn't own you. When the government does, you're enslaved, and there's lots of variations on total slavery or no slavery or what. But I see it as serious as calling a person a slave if they can draft you up, send you off to a war that you don't want, and kill people by the thousands or hundreds of thousands. And it's all because it is assumed, and be patriotic for Bondi, to allow the government to treat their people as slaves rather than individuals who can make up their own mind.
Now, put this first clip up. This is on antiwar.com. This is, Dr. Paul pointed out, U.S. military threats and actions escalate. A coalition calls for ending preparations for a military draft. A diverse coalition is mobilizing opposition to a recently passed federal law that seeks to step up preparations for and readiness to activate a military draft. The new law authorizes the Federal Selective Service System to begin using automated involuntary registration to increase the number of individuals currently listed in the agency's database of potential draftees. Now, I got an email, Dr. Paul, from our good friend Eric Garris over at antiwar.com a few days ago, and he brought this to my attention. He said there's a lot of groups signing on to a letter, this coalition letter, about this. And of course, I know this is near and dear to your heart, so I made sure to put us on it. But thanks to Eric and the people over there for bringing the attention. Now, here's a little bit from that letter. And you're not going to be surprised by this part if you go to that next clip. Statement opposing the automatic registration of individuals for a possible military draft. The organizations listed below oppose the recent change in federal law buried in the 2026 National Defense Authorization Act. It's always in the NDAA, isn't it, Dr.
That's
Paul?
for sure.
That's what, because it's a must-pass bill. So they put the garbage in there. So they say it'll result in selective service system trying to automatically force men, young men 18 through 25 for a future draft. And they make the argument in this letter, it won't produce an accurate or complete list of potential draftees, et cetera, et cetera. Now go to the next one. The change to automatic registration was enacted with no hearings, no debate, and no budget review. There's no reason to think a list constructed from other databases compiled for entirely unrelated purposes will be any more fit for the purpose than the current self-registration. So no debate, no nothing, no, it's automatic. Unlike past U.S. conflicts, the Iran attack is opposed by most Americans. Now you look at the support for these different ones. World War II, obviously 97%. Everyone was for it. Afghanistan, very popular at first. Persian Gulf War, very popular. Down and down and down we go. At the very bottom of the barrel, Dr. Paul, is the Iran war. Less than half, 41%. The poster on X said, the Iran war has the lowest level of public support at the beginning of any American war ever. extremely unpopular, yet they still kind of claim the right to come get young kids and to force them to go into it.
Well, all eyes on Iran. Hello to Josephine over in Facebook, jumping in, saying hello. Marion enjoying that quote, only the weakest males compete against women and only the weakest minds would celebrate it. All right. Let's... Zero Hedge says California dreaming ain't what it used to be. California's elected Democrats can't move beyond pandering. Governor Newsom is fixated on reparations for African Americans, and the legislature's Democratic Party majority is once again trying to divide Californians by race, sex, and gender orientation. I got a whole article. I'm going to keep it moving, but it's worth Iran Butterfly. By Iron Butterfly. Iron Butterfly. Mario Nothel says water infrastructure is now being hit as the war with Iran escalates. Iran's FM, who's that, foreign minister? It says a U.S. strike damaged a desalination plant on Qasem Island, cutting water to about 30 villages. Attacks on Gulf desalination plants could put millions at risk. A former Iranian professional soccer player was ousted from her country after posting photos of herself without a hijab in playing soccer with boys. Here she is on Fox.
They took everything from me. They took, I lost my family, I lost my home, I lost my safety. One day, my brother called me. When my mom was in Italy, my brother called me and said, Dad passed away. And that day was the worst day in my life because I felt guilty. My mom is here. I couldn't get a visa for my dad, and I was just in a situation. I was, Mom, hey, you have to get back, and his dad's funeral, and my siblings need you, and please get back. I can figure it out. And my mom was like, what should I do in this situation? No, you are alone here. And I was like, no, I can figure it out. I'm strong, Mom. You just go. And I felt guilty because my mom wasn't in that moment, in the last time of my dad's life with him. So I wanted to get back to Iran, honestly, with my mom, but my mom didn't allow me. And she said, no, you cannot even see your dad. You cannot even see because they're going to arrest you.
There you go. Where are all the women? I mean, this is all because she didn't want to put the hijab on.
That's so sad.
You know, it's one thing when people choose to do that because they want to practice the religion in that way. But when individuals choose that they don't want to do that, they shouldn't be forced to do so. And now you think of all the American people that have been saying they're champions of women. Why aren't you standing up with this woman right here? It's a heartbreaking story.
Yeah, and you have people that don't want to be in America. They say they don't love this country. Yeah. And they live here and they're citizens, and that's heartbreaking because we have men and women that are fighting for our freedoms because that could be our life. We could be like her and not have our freedoms. She is not allowed to go back to her country because she didn't wear something over her head.
Yep.
They took
We'll make some of that.
For a moment where you're asking yourself how you can reconnect to growing up with being taught that
منورين والله والله
I'm still on mute. There we go. Sorry. What do I say about blue cities and blue states? Peter Ducey speaking with President Trump about Iran.
Years that way.
And if they try to hit us back, have you been briefed about how many Iran sleeper cells there could be inside the U.S. right now?
How many sleeper cells could there be in the U.S. right now if Iran tries to hit back?
Have been, and a lot of people came in through Biden with this stupid open border. But we know where most of them are. We've got our eye on all of them, I think.
Is it dozens?
They came in through...
They know where most of them are. They have their eye on all of them, they think.
Is it dozens?
We've got our eye on all of them, I think.
Is it dozens?
They came in through the open border with this stupid open border. But we know where most of them are.
So he says where most of them are, where all of them are. And some people are getting hung up on most versus all.
We've got our eye on all of them, I think.
Is it dozens?
They came in through the open border policies of Sleepy Joe Biden, one of the worst president in the history of our country. And we've got our eyes on all of them. But the war itself is being prosecuted at a level that nobody's seen before. It's pretty amazing to watch. Years that.
All right. Chuck Schumer says the SAVE Act is Jim Crow 2.0. Oh, they love things that rhyme. It would disenfranchise tens of millions of people. American citizens or people? If Trump is saying he won't sign any bills until the SAVE Act is passed, then so be it. There will be a total gridlock in the Senate. Senate Democrats will not help pass. Yeah, you don't help anything. Will not help pass the SAVE Act under any circumstances. Elon says, indeed, Senator Schumer, you are lying. Cheryl Atkinson says, for 15 years, I've asked hundreds of thousands on Twitter X, including advocates, to connect me with a dozen folks who can't get an ID. When I get no one, I ask for just 5. When I still get no one, I ask for 1. I've never found even one. If I ever do, I'll do a story and assist him in getting an ID. It's a red herring. It's not real. Washington State passes 9.9% millionaires tax on incomes over 1 million. Billionaires would rather run away like cowards than pay their fair share. It says power to the people. Their fair share. Bro, they pay more taxes than anybody else. And you can only squeeze people so long before they peace out. You don't get to steal more money just because someone is doing better than you. Boy, oh boy. Oh, here's a heck of an interaction. Linda Moynihan. In Abby Phillips' reply.
I can't speak for Mike Johnson, but I would say we've had 2 terrorist attacks here in the last 10 days.
What does that have to do with Muslims?
So can we condemn those? Why are we?
Of course. What does that have to do with Muslims?
What does that
have to do with Muslims?
They repeated that question 3 times. What does that have to do with Muslims? They don't understand the question, or they're playing games. What are they doing here at CNN?
I can't speak for Mike Johnson, but I would say we've had 2 terrorist attacks here in the last 10 days.
What does that have to do with Muslims?
And she look at Abby. She's so excited. She jumps to and come on, say it.
In the last 10 days.
What does that have to do with Muslims?
So can we condemn those? Why are we?
Of course. What does that have to do with Muslims?
What does that have to do with Muslims?
There is a radical strain of Islam that's led to these terrorist attacks.
There are
obviously the vast majority of Muslims are
people
peaceful.
with terroristic ideologies here and all around the world. What does that have to do with whether Muslims belong in American society as a group?
They're talking about the Muslim that shot up in Austin, Texas nightclub or bar, and the 2 Muslims that threw improvised explosive devices at people that said America will not be conquered by Islam.
Yeah, and let's be
I'm
clear.
not-
I'd like her to hear the answer.
I'm talking about what Mike Johnson was saying.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking.
Man, they all think they got her in a gotcha. Look at this Anna Navarro. She is so giddy with herself.
About what he
But
didn't
you haven't
say.
read his full quote. He said,
what I'm talking about is what
tough on
he didn't
Islamic
say.
extremism without compromising our commitment to religious liberty. He was chiding those two members of Congress. And by the way, as a Republican,
was he?
As a Republican, I believe that
was
the
he when
same.
he said
I believe that the same
there are-
amendment.
Let him finish his thought, annoying lady.
Liberty. He was chiding those two members of Congress. And by the way, as a Republican,
was he?
As a Republican, I believe that the
Was he when
same.
he said
I believe that the same amendment.
There are strong language.
The same
that's
amendment
being thrown
that
around.
gives
Is it
those two
strong
members.
language?
Oh my God, she won't let him talk. It is unwatchable at CNN.
I believe that the same. I believe that the same amendment.
There are strong language.
The same
that's
amendment
being thrown
that
around.
gives
is
those
it
two
strong
members of
language
Congress.
or is it bigotry, Joe?
The same amendment that gives those two members of Congress the right to say things that are offensive, that I find actually offensive as well, is the same amendment that permits Muslim people to be here proudly and
Nobody
practice their
said
faith.
that Mike
That
Johnson
said,
should throw.
We've had 2 terrorist attacks in New York City. What's the second one in New York City? I know the 2 guys. Are they talking about the 2 guys or I don't know. Let's check in with Senator Schumer.
Yes, but their bill isn't voter ID, number one. It is about voter registration. It makes it allows it allows ICE to kick tens of millions of people off the rolls, and they don't tell them until Election Day, and you show up and you say, you're not registered anymore. You're not registered here. You're not on the rolls. Yes, but they...
Chip Roy says, well, that would mean they aren't citizens. So once again, John Adams did it for 4 whole years, become the Senate Majority Leader. But John Adams was never Senate Majority Leader. He was President of the Senate, as is every VP. They're talking about that still. Center of Immigration Studies Director testifies under oath about illegal aliens and welfare.
Sanctuary states typically have other policies that attract illegal settlement and thus burden taxpayers with support of illegal immigrants. Besides funding emergency health care and schooling for all, a number of sanctuary states go farther and choose to provide Medicaid, subsidized health insurance, nutrition assistance, housing, and much more. Illegal immigrants use these welfare programs in large numbers. My organization has found that over 60% of illegal alien-headed households are using at least one form of welfare program, and usually more than one, at a cost of tens of billions of dollars to taxpayers. This is why any resources spent on immigration enforcement actually save taxpayer money in the long run.
Yeah, huh? Rand Paul says 60% of illegal alien households are on welfare. I introduced the End Welfare for Non-Citizens Act for exactly this reason. We need action. Call your senators and tell them to co-sponsor my bill. Why are Senate Republicans putting out an AI deepfake video? Oh, it's okay. It uses his real past statements, mostly pre-2023 tweets and speeches, narrated with a synthetic voice. All right, so now we have that context. Let's listen.
And now a dramatic reading of James Taller's most memorable tweets.
Oh, I remember that.
By the way, Kenneth, when that lady said, I can't speak for Mike Johnson, I heard her say, I can't speak for my Johnson. I can speak for my Johnson. I heard her say, I heard that too.
This one. Radicalized white men are the greatest domestic terrorist threat in our country.
Democrats say this all the
time.
time.
So true. So true. Oh, I love this one too. The Texas Capitol can be a hostile environment for our trans neighbors. Our office is the first in the history of the Capitol to add pronouns to our official business cards. It's a small way to tell trans Texans, you are welcome here. Pronouns. Oh, this one is touching. Over and over, Christians use scripture to justify bullying trans kids. I told them in my faith, God is non-binary. There, but for the grace of God, go I. As a white man, I'm susceptible to the same radicalization. Thankfully, I was exposed to diversity at a young age and explicitly taught the values of equality, inclusion, and justice. But not every young white boy is so lucky. White boy. Should have been a preacher.
White boy. I should have been a preacher.
So lucky. White boy. Should have been a preacher. Oh, and best for last. This video brings back memories of being the only teenage boy at Planned Parenthood's March for Women's Lives in 2004.
And that concludes our dramatic reading of James Tallarico's most memorable tweets.
In his words, the things that he has sent out on his accounts. John Thune working overtime to see that Trump loses midterms and that the SAVE Act is never passed, despite 84% approval from American public, says the Gateway Pundit. And wokeness, imagine telling someone on 9/12 that this is how New York City Hall will look in 2026. I couldn't even imagine. Jonathan Turley says across the country, Democrats are moving to ban some semi-automatic rifles as well as large magazines. The most extreme legislation may be in Minnesota, which could not only ban sales, but also require current owners to agree to home inspections. Fuck you. Allegheny County, Pennsylvania City Council just passed an ordinance restricting local law enforcement from cooperating with ICE. Instructs officials to ignore ICE detainers. What the fuck is wrong with these people? Instructing ICE officials to ignore ICE detainers, preventing city employees from sharing information with ICE, banning local law enforcement from enforcing immigration. How could anyone vote for this? Or a Democrat that would support this? Or the Democrat Party that keeps putting up candidates that push this garbage? Banning local law enforcement from enforcing immigration laws. Restricting officials from asking about immigration status. Banning any city official from assisting ICE operations. Banning city contracts with ICE. Fuck them. The entire room erupted into a standing ovation. These people are cheering to protect criminal, illegal aliens who hurt Americans. This is deranged. Libs of TikTok, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania. They really do need to go have their own world somewhere. They need to go somewhere and have their own backward world and watch how it works. Stop fucking up ours. Scott Bessent just announced that the Internal Revenue Service launching massive audits of financial institutions that facilitated the laundering of Minnesota funds. Banks, MSBs, financial middlemen, anyone who helped move dirty money is about to get torched. For once, the IRS is being deployed for Americans first, not against working families. Follow the money, audit everything, prosecute whoever broke the law.
Civil enforcement is auditing financial institutions that facilitated the laundering of Minnesota funds, in addition to helping support criminal and civil enforcement efforts. The IRS will also soon announce the formation of a task force. Civil enforcement is auditing financial institutions that facilitated the...
All right. Iranian women are roasting the Democrat Party for their hypocrisy.
Democrats are brainwashed. I don't understand how you guys can support the killing of 40,000 people over the past 3 weeks, but yet when Trump bombs Iran, this is what they were asking for. They were asking to be bombed so that the government can go away. Now you guys are upset that like an elementary school of children was killed. Well, what about all the 40,000 people that were killed before? This doesn't make any sense. You guys are fake humanitarians and you guys are brainwashed. It's delusional. You guys don't make sense.
Yep, and this photo deserves the Pulitzer Prize. A protester shouting about the pros of immigration, interrupted by an Islamic terrorist throwing a bomb, jumping over him. Absolutely perfect. ABC says, I've covered, who is this? What's this guy's name? John Carl. I've covered 5 different presidents. I've never seen one other than Donald Trump who regularly takes phone calls from reporters. I've spoken to him over the phone 3 times since the military operation started. In each of those cases, I simply called him and he answered. Most transparent president in history. Trader Jill says, when an American soldier passes in service to our nation, Melania Trump sits down at her desk and handwrites a personal letter to that soldier's mother. Not typed by the White House staff, not a printed template. One letter, 1 hour at a time. This is just a shout out to a old-timey movie from 1933. Visionary choreographer Busby Berkeley stunned audiences with one of the most spectacular musical sequences ever filmed in the classic pre-code movie Footlight Parade. It's like the Ohio State Marching Band. It's like staring at a lava lamp. Joe says, kind of funny that MAGA wants us to get over January 6th and look forward, not back, when they still haven't gotten over losing the civil fucking war. Dustin Grage says, yeah, Republicans won the Civil War. Thank you for showing everyone why Democrats shouldn't be running our education system. Bill Malugin says Governor Spanberger in Virginia's office tells Nick Minnick she won't honor an ICE detainer for an illegal alien with 30-plus prior arrests, including R, accused of murdering a woman at a bus stop. She wants ICE to get a judicial warrant, which isn't possible unless there's suspicion of federal crime. Murder, rape, etc. are largely state crimes. It's remarkable how few politicians understand how this works. A federal judicial warrant can only be signed off on by a federal judge if there's probable cause that a federal crime has been committed. Oh my God. Spanberger is the worst and Virginia's in so much trouble. Senator Marsha Blackburn says Abigail Spanberger is protecting an illegal with 30-plus prior arrests accused of stabbing an innocent woman to D at the bus stop. I hope Virginians are paying attention. Spanberger needs to abandon her partisan politics and cooperate with ICE immediately. Under current U.S. law, harboring an illegal alien is a felony. Also under current law, if the illegal alien you harbor kills someone, you're eligible for the federal death penalty. Maybe, maybe not. They put out a cardboard cutout of the new Ayatollah. Stephen Miller says Baltimore Ravens introducing the Max Crosby press conference. They signed him to a deal, or they traded for him, but then they reneged on it. They backed out of it. Yeah. Hey, don't you hate Pete Hegseth because he's feeding the troops? No. Yes, Kenneth, if you get shampoo in your ear, you do risk brainwashing. Yes, you do. Austin man shot and K'd a construction worker at 6 a.m. outside a North Lamar bar. He disappeared for 2 months before SWAT pulled him out from a central Austin apartment. Jesus Loco Ramos been cycling through Travis County courts for years. Prosecutors had plenty of chances to stop him. They waited until a man was dead. 19 arrested for felony cocaine possession. Prosecutors reduced it to a misdemeanor. Plea deal 30 days. Felony evading arrest with a vehicle. That was just dismissed. 2020, again, felony evading with a vehicle reduced to a misdemeanor. Plea deal 30 days. Gang unit busts open air drug ring, Walnut Ridge Drive. Masked men waving rifles in the street. Caught after a car chase and foot pursuit. Loaded revolver found next to a seat. He was already convicted felon and prohibited from having a gun. Prosecutors nevertheless declined to prosecute. It is maddening. 2022 arrested for aggravated robbery with a firearm, a first-degree felony up to life in prison. DA rejected the case in 5 days and no charges filed. You've got to be kidding me. Flee blue cities. This is in the red state of Texas. This is Austin. Arrested again in 22. Carrying a weapon as a convicted felon. Sat for 2 years. Dismissed. Prosecutors just took the gun. 25. Crashed his truck into a tree near UT. Fled on foot. Identified by face tattoos. Prosecutors gave him a diversion program. Case dismissed. 26. 4 days later, Seferino Hernandez Perez shot and killed outside of Paris Lounge, North Lamar. 7 charges before the murder, 4 felonies, everyone reduced or thrown out, 0 jury trials, 60 total days in jail. Now the victim's children are trying to raise enough money to bring their dead father's corpse back to Mexico. We've got to have more accountability in sentencing. The prosecutors, the DAs. Steve Hilton reminds us Gavin Newsom and the Democrats increased California gas by about $2 a gallon. He's 4 times more destructive than the Iran war, which has increased gas prices 50 cents. His pathetic attempt to shift blame for his own policies is laughable. Larry Elder reminds us 20 to 30,000 dead Iranian anti-Ayatollah protesters is exactly what happens when a country has no Second Amendment. Legislators in Gavin Newsom's California, they don't mind that we're outgunned by terrorists should the need arise for the citizenry to act in defense. Post the SCOTUS and Heller and McDonald decisions, the leftists running California have not lifted a finger to rescind their illegal gun laws. In fact, they're still attempting to legislate unconstitutional disarmament. Guess Mamdani's wife. NYPD officers furious with Mayor Mamdani after ISIS-inspired bomb attempt. Sergeants Benevolent Association posted, instead of hosting the 2-star police chief who leaped over the barricades and ran this guy down who threw the bomb, the mayor hosts Mahmoud Khalil. Mamdani needs to go. Babylon B. Mamdani clarifies that his wife only celebrates terrorism in her capacity as a private citizen. That's a humorous post that's too real to be fully hilarious. Dr. Eli David says breaking the main data center of Bank SEPA, Iran's largest bank, was attacked tonight. The bank pays the salaries to all regime forces. Oh. Baba Benares. Says a Grand Ayatollah Abdullah Javadi Amoli, who issued a jihad fatwa declaring the shedding of blood of Trump and the Zionists is obligatory, has been killed in U.S. airstrikes. Official confirmation awaited. All of this is fan fiction, and it's hard to figure out what's really going on in war all the time. An Israeli pilot talking to an American pilot.
Mobile 97. Go for 97. It is a great honor for us to fight with you. You're doing a great job.
Thank you very much. Likewise, gentlemen. Please be safe out there. Strike hard. See ya.
Yeah, for the people that don't like the partnership, but they seem to like each other. New York City Mayor Mamdani's wife liked this picture of 12-year-old girl Yagil Yaakov, who was kidnapped by Hamas on October 7. Her father was emmed. He was forced to strip in front of all these people and then was abused. Hamas posted this picture. She needs to at least apologize, but she will double down because resistance means kidnapping and humiliating kids and babies. And the massacres we will never forgive or forget. Dan Scavino, about a year ago, said it's time to abolish the IRS. Montgomery says the IRS is the collection agency for the Federal Reserve, which is neither federal nor a reserve of anything. The U.S. borrows all of its money from the Fed at interest. We need to return to a pre-1913 constitutional money system based on a gold standard. That way, the economy will be fair. We won't have inflation. We will serve the people, not the money powers. End the IRS by ending the Fed. With a viable Treasury Department, we don't need either of those. And the founders designed the American money system to serve the people, not the money powers. Libs of TikTok says Virginia Democrats just passed a bill that would require schools to teach about January 6th to say it was a violent insurrection. It wasn't. To overturn the election results. No, it was to restore what they thought was a stolen election and to ban teachers from saying there was election fraud or that it was peaceful. It was a mostly peaceful protest, and then some people did some things. Dapper Detective posted this. A MS-13 foreign terrorist that crossed into the U.S. illegally under Biden and the Democrats is arrested in Waterbury, Connecticut. Danny Antonio Granados Garcia, wanted for murder by machete back home in El Salvador. Any Democrat would have a margarita with him. Once again, here's that video of that guy. I think he had something to say about it.
You don't get to come from outside and then tell everyone else.
That's me in the video getting a bomb thrown over my head. Let me just give you some context for what was happening. So this was at a rally hosted by white supremacist Jake Lang. He's a domestic.
You could call him an anti-Islamic supremacist activist as well. Don't need to like Jake Lang to be accurate about what was being said, is that Islam is not going to overthrow New York and America. But this white guy wants to call that white guy a white supremacist because it makes that white guy feel big in here.
Domestic terrorist from January 6th, pardoned.
Oh, yeah, he was pardoned from that day. We watched him. We filmed him. What was he swinging? I think there was a wooden stick that he was swinging. Not advised.
By Donald Trump. He was holding an anti-Muslim rally when this guy jumped over me.
Anti-Islamic supremacist rally? If you don't like supremacists, you won't like Islamic supremacists.
And committed an act of terrorism. That sounds confusing. Let me start over. So Jake Lang was holding the rally. He's known for three things: being a domestic terrorist from January 6th, pardoned by Donald Trump, losing to the letter S, and as we found out today, grooming 15-year-old girls. Jake Lang was holding this rally saying things like this.
America is a white Christian country.
If you're saying America is for white Christian men, you're a white supremacist. Now, I really want to be clear that I made a huge mistake in not taking cover after this explosive device was thrown. If you're at a public event and someone throws what looks like an explosive device, you're not a wimp for taking cover. We were counter-protesting.
Because I believe that's what he said in the immediate aftermath. And then he said, hey, go to my page and fund me.
Making Jake Lang look like the idiot that he is. When these two idiots came along and committed an act of terrorism, they could not have done more.
Why is there a black rectangle there? That's dumb.
To legitimize Jake Lang's.
To legitimize? I mean, bro, were you even alive on September 11th? Do you remember? Have you not watched the butchery in Nigeria? Have you not followed what happens maybe in Iran since 1979, how they butchered and abused people and deprived them of human rights? Any context?
It came along and committed an act of terrorism. They could not have done more to legitimize Jake Lang's white supremacist talking points. They literally threw the bomb over my head while I was talking about inclusion. The CIA should definitely be paying them at this point. I just want to reiterate that I was not practicing safety that day. I could have been killed, and that weighs very heavy on both me and my family. And all that being said, I'm not going to use this as an excuse to be a xenophobic bigot.
Opposing Islamic supremacism ideology, opposing Islamic supremacist ideology doesn't make you xenophobic or a bigot. It makes you someone who possesses self-defense instincts. If there's a group that wants to overthrow and dominate and subjugate and take away our civil liberties, that's an enemy. You have every right to defend your country. That should weigh very heavy on you and your family.
And all that being said, I'm not going to use this as an excuse to be a xenophobic bigot. Elon Musk and all of right-wing media are having a field day right now because I am choosing inclusion and not bigotry.
No, you don't include people that want to subjugate your freedoms and force you into doing things you're not interested in doing.
Still stand by my original point, which is I'm a native New Yorker. I was born and raised in New York. New York City is for everyone, except for terrorists who throw bombs and goat-fucking white supremacists like Jake Lang.
There you go. Doubling down. Walter Masterson.
You don't get to come from outside and then tell everyone else.
That's me in the video getting a bomb.
Robert O'Neill, there's a saying about weak men. There's a jihadi in the mayor's seat in the very city that was attacked. There's this person. Clandestine says, I don't care if they do a talking filibuster, completely get rid of the filibuster, or if Trump does it by executive order. Voter ID is going to be implemented before the 2026 election because it is a direct threat to national security. Let the Dems and legacy media squeal all they want. Who cares? Before anyone says dangerous precedent, the Dems will use it next time they're in power. Y'all don't seem to get it. There's not going to be a next time for the Dems. With voter ID implemented, the Dems will never win a presidential election or majorities in Congress ever again, and their party will face extinction. In addition, they will have been caught cheating in elections via flooding our nation with millions of illegals and letting them vote. The whole treason thing with Russiagate, COVID, U.S. aid, fraud, embezzlement, sedition, etc. This is the battle for the Republic. When we get voter ID, it's over. The Democrats' illusion will be unraveled, as will their reign, and their reign will come to an end. Trump is going to win this war with the Democrats decisively here and now, and he is going to do it by proving to the public that the Dems are cheating in elections, and it must be done. Gene says there will never, ever be an honest and fair election until those Democrat pollsters who broke election laws are arrested, convicted, and sent to prison. In 2022 election, Dems will make sure the fraudulent votes that only Dems will make sure with fraudulent votes that only Dems will win. That was a prediction, but I like the beginning part of it. I'm going through cleaning up my timeline, so I'm sharing some things that might not be as timely, but some of the information is good. Charlie Kirk, you tried to silence him, so we're going to play him.
Ridvan Idamir, who is a former Muslim, you are very outspoken about Islam. What should the Western approach to Islam be?
First off, realize what you're dealing with. Realize that it is not simply a religion. Acknowledge that it is incompatible with your societies, and then begin to directly address it. The freedoms that we have in the West, they were established. The values that we have in the West were established. Even America was founded by people who had in mind that these are values that unite us. These nations are founded in order to have people like us with our values to live together. That's why we have freedom, because we cherish it, we value it, we can do it. They weren't meant to be offered to every single anti-freedom group that comes in and wants to abolish it and abuse it in order to oppress you.
Yeah, it's an anti-freedom group. It's incompatible with the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Amazing interview here.
So why do you think people were so loud on Palestine but so silent on Iran?
A lot of factors.
They were told to.
For a second before I load my response.
Sure. But let me just give you some stats. More people died in Iran because of the Islamic Republic that kills and oppresses its own people. So this basically ticks all the left-wing narrative boxes. You have a group of oppressed people that are rising up against the tyrant, getting killed by that tyrant, shot in the head for protesting, which is their democratic right. You don't have a single campus shutdown. You don't have a single protest. You have protests by Iranians, but not by foreigners. Yet, you had protests non-stop for the last 2 years about Palestine, which I think they started the war by attacking Israel on 7th of October. Israel responded, and they basically won the war. But then you had protests for 2 years condemning Israel, calling it a genocidal state. even though Israel could have committed genocide in 1 hour if they wanted to. The reason why war took 2 years is because they didn't want to commit a genocide. But then you have the Islamic Republic that is actually causing a genocide, killing their own people not saying anything. Why do you think that is?
Many reasons. However, I do disagree fundamentally about there not being. Sorry, could you just repeat what you were saying? About,
yeah.
I disagree with you about the origins of October 7th and that.
Okay.
That it was.
Yeah. So look, the thing is, Hamas was given $20 billion back in 2005. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They could have built skyscrapers. They could have made Gaza the next Dubai if they wanted to, because they got the support from international community. They dragged every single Jew out of Gaza back in 2005. But then guess what happened? When Hamas took over, they killed all the oppositions, threw them off the buildings, destroyed all the glass houses that the Jews had built that provided food for them. Then they used the 20 billion to build tunnels, and then the leaders of Hamas, they went and lived in 5-star hotels in Qatar, whilst their sons were on private jets with half-naked women, whilst Palestinians were starving, or the people that live in Gaza. Okay. And then people scream genocide. They caused October 7th. They attack, and they try to commit a genocide on the Jews on the October 7th.
I'm going to cut here. I can't have a good faith debate about this. I'm sorry.
Why?
You couldn't make any salient point.
Because I disagree fundamentally about the causes of October 7th.
Well, it's true.
Uh-huh. Okay. Anna Paulina Luna is confirming that a group of GOP lawmakers, well, let's let her talk.
This is really 100% on Leader Thune. I know for a fact the American people have told their senators what they want, both the Democrats and Republicans. I think the number for Democrats is over 71%. Even Fetterman came out in support of this, which we know that Fetterman might not align with us all the time, but on this issue, he's pretty good and here's what his own people want. And so, again, this is something that the Senate is going to have to act on. But look, I'm not going to hold my breath. If I did, I'd probably pass out before the Senate decided to actually do something. And so what I'm anticipating is if they don't do the right thing, we're going to have to stick it on FISA. FISA's must pass. That's the only way we're going to get it done, but we will get it done. And it's good that Speaker Johnson is on the same page on this issue, as well as the president so vocally supporting it.
Really quickly, I've heard a lot of talk about this talking filibuster, okay? And I don't even know if Thune's going to do it.
Yeah, I believe he's not going to do it. Both sides do it. Get it done. This is the last off-ramp to save this damn country, and I am tired of feeling like I'm the only one who gets it.
Possibly, real quick.
I'm not the only one that gets it, but my God, this is an obvious thing, and I'm just banging my head up against a wall every day.
Possibly backfire if you gave the Democrats a stage like that to do a big, heroic talking filibuster. What do you think about that?
I think the one thing I'm finding out about...
Okay, please. Hold on. Please. The Democrats don't make any salient points. There is nothing logical about them opposing voter ID in the SAVE Act. Let them give you terrible talking points nonstop. These will be the campaign ads to throw them all out in the midterm elections. Make them speak. Make them debate. Oh my gosh, please give them the platform. You must give them the platform.
Is they're notoriously lazy, which is why they move so slow. And so, I mean, eventually they'll probably run out of life force in an effort to do that. But, you know, again, voter ID is one of the most important issues in the world. So even if, you know, you give them a platform, I don't care. I want it signed into law. And I think that if that's the way that you have to do it, then so be it.
I agree. Thank you, Anna Paulina Luna. Meet the new boss. They brought out a cardboard cutout with his face on it. No, really, that was a thing that happened. How is the war going?
Hey, you can disagree with the war, but not the war effort. We are accelerating these bombing runs and their offensive output is collapsing. You have to look at it honestly, like these two colleagues to my left said. Everything that the Iranians have tried has failed. They tried to have a war of attrition, hunker down, let us run out of munitions and interceptors. That didn't work. They tried to hit the Arab allies. All it did was force them into America's arms. And then they tried to jack up the price of oil so the base felt the pain at the pump and the market could pressure Trump to take a knee. That didn't happen. The market is stabilized. Oil's down to $80 a barrel. And right now the Strait's open. It's not completely, but they are moving tankers. And we have things we can do there. We can use ships as sentries. We could do escorts, or we could seize Carg Island and then just like turn off their revenue with a little spigot. When Trump and Hegseth say that we're only just getting started, or, oh, they ain't seen nothing yet, that's not saying the war is going to last forever. That's a psyop to the Iranians to say we're holding a lot back. We could be hitting their electrical grids, bridges, oil depots. What we're doing is that they act stupid. We're going to reserve those targets for that punishment. Right now, we're almost executing this war compassionately. This thing could be much, much bigger. The timing of the war is really intelligent because if you see the volley of these drones and ballistic missiles, imagine 5 years from now how much blood and treasure the American alliance would have to spend busting down these barrages to take out the nuclear program. Their goal was to build a shield around it so we couldn't even consider the strike. People have to be a little bit more patient. We took 10 years to nail bin Laden, 2 years for Milosevic, 8 months for Gaddafi, 9 months for Saddam. Hitler died after 6 years. We got this guy in 50 seconds. You have to acknowledge how great that was.
Yeah, I think we should.
Hey, you can disagree.
But the key is going to be winding it down and getting out of there. That's going to be the key. Marco Rubio realizing he has to step in as the new supreme leader of Iran. These memes will never not be funny. We told you about Mahdi Sacco, ordered removed from the U.S. in 2000, but remained under ICE supervision while casting ballots, prosecutors allege. Kash Patel says the FBI and our partners arrested an individual illegally in the U.S., charged with voting the last 5 presidential elections, each time falsely claiming he was a U.S. citizen to vote. Scott Pressler says Director Patel, the illegal alien, is still actively registered to vote in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Makes you wonder why Pennsylvania won't give up its voter rolls to the DOJ. Thank you for enforcing the law. A J6 plaque installed at the U.S. Capitol. Anthony Sabatini says, what an absolutely disgusting and vile memorial. I dedicated 2 years of my life to representing 15 January 6 defendants against false charges. 7 J6 defendants committed suicide in response to the horrific way that the government, Dems and the GOP, treated them for a protest. Tear this down. Scott Pressler confronts officials in Bucks County, accusing them of breaking election laws in a heated exchange. Perspective on gas prices. Trump shut down the entire Middle East and gas went from $2.98 to $3.41. Biden got gas to $5.01, armed with nothing but a couple trillion of federal waste and fraud. This guy responding to Chuck Schumer calling the SAVE Act Jim Crow 2.0 says, hey, black dude here. I can trace my family ancestry to slavery. I even know where they were slaves. My mom experienced Jim Crow. I think I've watched every episode of Eyes on the Prize when I was younger. With that said, can you directly explain to me how the SAVE Act is Jim Crow 2.0? Literally every black person I know has ID. Literally every black person I know has a car or at least a ride. Literally every black person I know knows how to vote. Well, except for the ones with felonies, but they don't count. With your advanced white liberal thinking, you must know more than me. Apparently, as I experience daily on this app, white liberals are experts on being black, even more so than actual black folks. Perhaps you could explain it like I'm 5. I'd look it up on the internet, but Kathy Hochul has already told me I don't know what a computer is. And Joe Biden said I can't navigate it anyway. Looking forward to your answer. No hugs, Zeke. Zeke Arkham. Great post. Matt Van Swole gives us a gentle reminder that Lindsey Graham lives an hour and a half away from his doorstep. He never came to visit us in Western North Carolina a single time after Hurricane Helene. Not once. He has flown to Ukraine 9 times and tries to visit Israel every 2 weeks, though. Todd Starnes says Fox News host Lindsey Graham admitted last night to Sean Hannity that he violated the Logan Act numerous times. MJ Truth Ultra shares this clip, though, of him saying something else.
And to all those who died in this endeavor called Epic Fury, you're protecting America, because I believe with all my heart and soul, if the regime in Iran still stands when this is over, we've made a mistake. If they had a nuclear weapon, they would use it. They've been lying about what they're doing with their nuclear program. They want to bomb because they're Nazis. They're crazy. They want to kill all the Jews. And the Jews have been down that road before. To our friends in Israel, God bless you. I'm with you in every way. To all the anti-Semitites, to all the isolationists, I don't believe. Forget it. I'm not with you. I'm with Israel. I will be with Israel to our dying day. They're the best ally we could hope for. So we have a commander-in-chief in President Trump, who I think is Ronald Reagan plus. And to all those...
Whew. MJ Truth Ultra calls that by definition, treasonous. Pledging fealty to a foreign nation, saying he's with Israel until our dying day. Megyn Kelly has thoughts.
I want a solid defeat if it can be achieved. But I'm also going to be honest, and it's not going universally well over there. We're getting propaganda from the administration, and then we're getting just the naysayers who report nothing but bad news for the United States, which isn't true either. I mean, it's quite a feat to have sunk their entire Navy, which we appear to have done. It's don't underestimate the power of the U.S. military, but the bloodlust by the administration spokespeople, and this guy chief among them, is very disconcerting. It's very off-putting. He then, went on to issue a warning to Spain. Okay, what are we now doing to Spain? Not to mention the entire Arab world.
To our friends in Spain, man, you have lost your way. I don't want to do business with you anymore. I want our air bases out of Spain into a country that will let us use them. To our Arab friends, I've tried to help you construct a new Mideast. You need to up your game here. I can't go to South Carolina and say we're fighting and you won't publicly fight. What you're doing behind the scenes, that has to stop. The double dealing of the Arab world when it comes to this stuff needs to end.
No one elected you as our commander-in-chief. Shut the fuck up. Get off the national scene. You've disgraced yourself and endangered our troops long enough.
Lindsey Graham. Democrats push a $430 million cut to education, including special ed. Republicans have a bipartisan proposal to bring federal dollars Minnesotans already send to Washington back to our state to invest in students, but why won't Democrats support it in Minneapolis? Or in Minnesota? Is this Minnesota? Yeah, Minnesotans. Oh, here's a great update I wanted to make sure I got to. Remember this lady?
Okay, guys, so I would like to start a new movement called See MAGA, because people like that respond to fear and terror and aggression, not logic and empathy and, I don't know, intelligence. It doesn't work for them. So fear works. So if we all get our guns and use our Second Amendment right and our common sense, at this point this administration is begging us to rise up and revolt. And you see somebody with a MAGA hat, pew pew. That's what we do. That's the way. It's the only way.
Crazy eyes.
Put them back in their basements, make them scared again to be racist, homophobic, and terrible, just awful fucking pieces of shit. Because I would way rather live next to immigrants than MAGA people. MAGA people deserve to be terrified and scared to walk in the streets because they should know that real Americans are gonna kill them.
Remember we showed you that montage of Democrats coaching their idiots to act this way? I meme, therefore I am. Is this, let me ask Grok, is this accurate? I don't know this account. Was this person found guilty? Okay, this post accurately reports the March 10 federal conviction of Desiree Doreen Sigari for interstate threats via TikTok videos, inciting violence against MAGA supporters as verified by WFLA News and FBI Tampa announcements. She faces up to 5 years in prison with sentencing on May 5th. Bravo. More arrests, please. We told you about this. We shared this with you at the time. And this should put a smile on your face. It's time to finally start holding these people accountable. 5 years doesn't seem like enough. Kim Jong-un allegedly launching missiles with his daughter, testing cruise missiles, watching. When you have all the toys, but no one wants to play with you, you just start playing alone. Well, she might be next in line for succession in this line of succession in North Korea. Here's Elton John being asked about this.
I know that you're not
from before, but about what Trump said. Well, you'll see.
A supporter of Donald Trump's. He loves your music. How did it feel when... I know that you're not a supporter of Donald Trump's. He loves your music. How did it feel when he took the lyrics to Rocket Man and he used it as a nickname for Kim Jong-un, and then he gave Kim Jong-un...
I laughed. I thought it was brilliant. I just thought, good on you, Donald. I'm the Rocket Man, yeah. Donald's always been a fan of mine, and he's been to my concerts many, many times. So, I mean, I've always been friendly towards him, and I thank him for his support. Yeah, when he did that, I just thought it was hilarious. It made me laugh.
In case you didn't see that, not particularly newsworthy, but it's interesting. Check in on Bill Clinton bumbling around. Theoretical conversation. Passerby, why'd you do that to your wife? Dressed like that. I thought she was Kim Jong-un. Just trying to take out a major threat. Trump already got 2 dictators. Bill Clinton. You know, Bill Clinton and Donald Trump are the same age. I did not know that. I looked it up yesterday. Yeah, they're saying the daughter here increasingly appeared, believed to be about 13 years old. Kim Ju-a. He may be preparing to designate her as his successor. This video is awful. 3 years ago today, a little girl named Louise Frisch was emmed in Germany. They stabbed her 30 times, pushed her body over an embankment to hide the evidence. In the lead up to her D, she was harassed on a near daily basis by migrant children of different backgrounds. Recorded it. This is one of them. Little girls like Louise should still be alive, leading a happy life, but immigration took that away. We need mass deportations so there's no more incidents like this, says Basil the Great. Just awful. They just abusing and hitting this. I did watch this before, and I don't want to see it again. When people say socialism is better than capitalism, ask, when the Berlin Wall fell, which side did you run to? All right, I think that's what I had for you, except there is some breaking news. Take a look here from Missouri.
The clerk will close the board and tally the vote. With the yeas being 90 and the nays being 65, House Bill 1 is declared third read and passed. Gentlemen from Greene County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The next order of business.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The next order of business.
But here's your new map. In Missouri, adds another Republican seat in the U.S. House. Big win, but we need other red states like Florida to get their maps redrawn now. Play hardball. The Democrats have pretty much gerrymandered every... Oh, that's good. Bill Clinton, more like Ill Clinton. He looks so sick. But yeah, almost every blue state has been gerrymandered to the gills, so every Republican state needs to do the exact same. Look at that. They have St. Louis, Missouri, and nothing else. You got one little dot. The whole rest are normal people. You mean people in cities aren't normal? I think cities are full of fraud and counting votes from people that are not U.S. citizens. That is my contention. Democrat Jill Kuda says it was, well, here. Constituent here.
State of the Union last month. There was a question from the president asked of all the congressional members in the audience. And they asked everyone to stand if they were in agreement with this statement. And the statement was, the first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens. I'm quoting that. And I noticed you did not stand, and I'd like to know your reasoning why you did not stand.
Thank you, Arlene, and I appreciate that. We don't always get easy questions, and we shouldn't just get easy questions at these events. But that decision was easy for me at the State of the Union. If it had been a genuine question, a true question, not a ploy to be able to put on some commercial later on to say, look at all those Democrats who don't believe in protecting Americans of the...
Huh? They can't use it in a commercial if you stand because you're a part of it. And he basically asked you to reaffirm your oath to the American people and not to traitors, not to invaders.
Not a ploy to be able to put on some commercial later on to say, look at all those Democrats who don't believe in protecting Americans.
This is the dumbest argument I've ever heard. You couldn't be put on a commercial if you stood because, yeah, of course, I represent the United States people. Yeah.
The Constitution. I absolutely would have stood.
Yeah. What a weird response. New York Post reports that a migrant who shoved two onto the New York subway tracks was deported 4 times, had 15 arrests on his record. Arrested Tuesday. Shoves 2 people onto New York subway tracks. You know what? Maybe just run the subway, tie him down, and just call it a day. I'm just getting tired. I am just so tired of the criminality. Leader John Thune says next week, I will bring the Save America Act to the floor. Senate Democrats will be forced to defend their outrageous positions on these issues and explain to the American people why common sense and the Democrat Party have parted ways. Yeah, fine. You need to bring the already passed House Save America Act bill requiring only 50 votes. Stop game playing. And you damn well better bring it with the talking filibuster. Otherwise, your career is done. You'll go down as history as one of the men who gave away the republic, or at least tried to. He's got to get removed because it's going to be a scam. Hernan Cortez says the trans school shooter at Tumbler Ridge laid out an elaborate plan to commit mass murder to ChatGPT. A dozen employees saw the plans and waited to alert police, but were turned down by company leadership. A dozen OpenAI employees saw the comments as signs of an imminent risk of serious harm to others, suggesting contacting Canadian police, adding those recommendations were brought to the company's leadership, who turned them down. Instead, the only step the OpenAI defendants took in response to the gun violence ChatGPT posts was to ban the shooter's first OpenAI account. Elon says, keep ChatGPT away from kids and the mentally unwell. Okay, where are the posts that I posted? Okay, there they are. They weren't showing up. Breaking news, unfortunately, Michigan.
is that police are responding to a scene in West Bloomfield for an active situation. Sources say an active shooter threat is underway at Temple, Israel, and they say a major scene was reported there. If you're familiar with the area, this is located on Walnut Lake Road. So a live look there thanks to our Fox 2 Detroit helicopter, as we see that there is some smoke there from a building, and that seems to be where the helicopter is concentrating this live look. It's a little hard to tell, but we do see that emergency responders are surrounding this building. According to Fox 2 Detroit, there is a threat underway at Temple, Israel there in Michigan.
Detroit. Maybe Fox's report will be more informative.
Appears this was a vehicle ramming and active shooter situation. To your point about the smoldering and what happened.
Have you ever heard of a Christian mowing people down and then getting out with a weapon and attacking people? Have you ever heard that? Because in order to do that, you got to be sort of anti-Christian, because Jesus did not teach you to do stuff like that. I wonder if this will be a Christian attack or something else.
Happened in the building or outside of the building.
Well, it's at a synagogue. I mean, who hates the Jews? Besides everybody these days, it seems. Okay, not everybody, just a lot of people. Maybe a lot more than there used to be, or maybe the same amount that there always was. I don't know. And of course, if this happened at a synagogue, you'll hear people say, well, Netanyahu did it, right? The Jews did it. Israel did it, right? Because you'll hear that. I wonder, who could be a person of interest here? I don't know. I don't want to rush to any judgment, but if I were placing a $10 bet.
Kash Patel reporting right now via X that FBI personnel are on the scene with partners in Michigan.
And I'm just throwing this stuff out there. 72-hour rule. Nobody knows what's going on. I'm just being flippant. Because I'm flipping sick of pointless attacks. I just don't like seeing random violence. I don't like seeing threats. I don't like intimidation.
Responding to the apparent vehicle ramming and active shooter situation out of Temple Israel Synagogue in West Bloomfield Township, Michigan, at FBI Detroit. He is tagged there. So they're working with their local partners there, and they're on the scene, Garrett.
Yeah, and that confirmation is significant because that suggests that this is playing out exactly what we saw happen in Grand Blanc, Michigan last fall, where you had someone that drove a truck into the chapel and then got out with an automatic weapon and started shooting individuals there that were there worshiping. And these two areas are just about less than an hour apart from each other in Michigan. So this has been something that has been on people's minds there in that area because they are not far separated from one another. When they see and they hear this, their minds go back to what happened just a few months ago in that attack on people that were just living.
Okay, so that's happening. Car crashes into Jewish synagogue, Michigan, near Dearborn, perhaps. Vehicle deliberately driven into the Temple Israel in West Bloomfield, Michigan. Reports indicate shots were fired after the crash. Vehicle caught fire after striking the building, according to Breaking 911. Oakland County deputies say the incident appears intentional. Police responding to what authorities describe as an active situation. Well, shit, here's another one.
This is in Virginia. And this is Old Dominion University. Police cars there you can see gathered. A gunman is dead after injuring two people at Old Dominion University, according to officials there at the school. A gunman opened fire in Constant Hall at about 10:50 a.m. East Coast time. And officials are saying two people were hurt as a result. We do not know what their conditions medically are right now. This is all the information we're getting in right now. And you're looking again, this is live from Virginia, Old Dominion University, and the cordon of police officers, that perimeter that has been put up. And I want to go now and focus James Gagliano, retired FBI supervisory special agent and a Fox News contributor. Good to see you today. We don't have a lot of detail on this. But I want to know your first quick thoughts. That's a big show of force showing up. We know we have 2 people injured, don't know how badly.
Yeah, so Harris, unfortunately, this is kind of like our new normal, right? We deal with these, whether or not this was a mass shooting, whether or not this was a hate crime. This could have been workplace violence. It could have been a love triangle. We have to keep our aperture open on the investigation. Now, I say that and suggest that only because the gunman, from what we're hearing, is down. Police want to immediately go to the sound of the guns, stop the threat, interdict them immediately, get help to the wounded, and then slow things down. The next most concerning thing here, Harris, was this a lone attacker or was this part of a larger conspiracy?
Yeah, and
well, there's at least 2 potentially intentional attacks so far just today. That first one outside Detroit followed the Old Dominion attack, likely terrorism. 2 ROTC candidates critically wounded in the attack per local reporting. These appear to be coordinated on surface level, though authorities have not made the connection, says Matt Tardio. And that's what I had to share with you. So let me get a palate cleanser. I did have one palate cleanser video. Just brighten the mood as we dig through the garbage of the trash. Dig through the trash of the daily news today. This one's always a classic. All right, let me pull this up. All right, after this video, we're going to wrap up the program, today's TNAM Daily Show here on the New American Media. Follow us on all the platforms. Hit like, hit subscribe, hit share, hit the thumbs up button. Consider subscribing to us on Patreon or Patreon, Rumble or Rumbel, YouTube, YouTube. You can be a monthly sponsor there, or you can drop us a Rumble rant or super chat tip on Rumble and YouTube accordingly, respectively. And if you want to tip us any other way here, as I've been bartending to you for the past few hours actually, slide a tip across. You can do it on Venmo or Cash App. That's just my name, Brian Engelman, all scrolling at the bottom of the screen right there. Or on PayPal right there, fuzzinstallment@yahoo.com. Right there, fuzzinstallment@yahoo.com on PayPal if you want to drop a tip. All right, here's your moment of zen. Are you stealing that bit from Jon Stewart's Daily Show? It's an homage. They clearly came up with it, but they haven't been doing it in a while. I don't know. I haven't watched the Daily Show in a trillion years. But yeah, here's your palate cleansing moment of zen. I feel like anytime I see this, I'm going to play this. 394th Judicial District Court. Recording of this hearing or live stream is prohibited. Well, clearly we did record it. Here we go.
Ponton, I believe you have a filter turned on in the video settings. You might want to.
There's so much funny going on. Number one, it's so silly that it's happening. Then the cat starts looking down in a way like, who, me? If I stay like this for a while, maybe they'll let me be. Then when the guy chimes in, he's like, completely discombobulated. I just love everything about
Ponton, I believe you have a filter turned on in the video settings. You might want to take a look.
Can you hear me, Judge?
I can hear you. I think it's a filter.
It is, and I don't know how to remove it. I've got my assistant here. She's trying to, but I'm prepared to go forward with it.
I'm prepared to go forward with it. We're not.
I'm prepared to go forward with it. I'm here live. I'm not a cat.
I'm here live. I'm not a cat. Which is exactly what you would expect a cat to say if they were trying to trick you.
I'm here live. I'm not a cat.
I can see that.
Not too much funny came out of COVID, but that was just, guilty of being cute and hilarious. How do you plead, cat? I plead guilty of being cute. I prefer to go forward. I'm not a cat. That depends on what your definition of the word cat is. Oh my goodness. Everybody, thanks for being here. We'll unpack the news again tomorrow. Let me hit reset. We're going to do a show in about 49 minutes. Strictly football. Where's it at? There it is. Myself, Jim Mitchell, Mike Barra, Ezrael Robinson. Brought to you by the Unhappy Hour Sports Show on the New American Media. We will have that coming up in 49 minutes. I'm not a cat. That's exactly what you would expect a cat to say, whilst lying to you. All right, everybody. I will bounce for now. Thank you all for joining us today. Share the show with a friend. Hit the thumbs up button on your way out. And remember, Rumble Rant, Super Chat, and Patreon. All right, everybody. Signing out on behalf of everybody out there in the TNAM universe. I appreciate you. I love you. And we will talk to you again soon. Take care, everybody. Peace.
Your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.